Well, good afternoon and welcome to the fifth day of the 2021 Cheltenham Festival. Good afternoon from me and Randall. This is Alex Winters alongside me today.
Hello Ian, hello everybody. How wonderful it is to be back at the Cheltenham Cricket Festival. The shadow of the chapel to our left hand side overlooking the ground. It's always a really inspiring place to come here, and a good crowd in and hoping for a good afternoon's play.
Yes, this game obviously sold out quite some way ahead. I think 3,300 was the figure that we were given as allowable for today, and that will feel like a lot with no seated stands with any elevation. So there were people here, as I know when I parked the car, there were people queuing to get in half an hour before the gates were scheduled to open because they wanted to get down the front and they didn't want to be standing for all or part of the afternoon. So let's give you the news of the teams and the toss first of all. Middlesex have won the toss and they have elected to field first. Umpires today, Ben Debenham and Russell Warren. And quite a few changes to the Middlesex team and indeed to the Gloucestershire team, which Alex will give you in a moment, for today's game from the Championship match. So for Middlesex, 5 changes. Out of the side go Ethan Bamber, Tim Murtagh, Martin Anderson, Robbie White, who himself was a substitute, of course, for John Simpson, off with the England ODI squad, and their Red Bull captain Peter Hanscom. In come Steve Finn, Mujib ur Rahman, the Afghan spinner who bowls both a mix of off breaks and flippers, and I think of the odd leg break as well. Max Holden, Joe Cracknell, and also Luke Holman, who's also a leg break bowler. So their side in batting order will be Steve Eskenazi, Sam Robson, Joe Cracknell, who will keep wicket, Darryl Mitchell, who of course foiled Gloucestershire for so long in the Championship match before that late clatter of wickets yesterday brought the victory. Max Holden, Josh De Cares, Michael Atherton's boy, who made his first class debut in the Championship match, Luke Holman, Nathan Souter, Blake Cullen, Mujib ur Rahman and Steve Finn. So Alex, plenty of spin options there in that Middlesex team.
Yes indeed, plenty of options for Middlesex to turn to and plenty of changes, like you say there, for Middlesex, but plenty of changes for Gloucestershire as well. 6 of them to come from the side that beat Middlesex yesterday. Miles Salmon was in that side. He'll take his place at the top of the order as usual here in the T20 side. That Benny Howell comes back, probably take his place at top of the order once again. Been filling in at 3 throughout the competition. Ian Cobain is back after his ankle problem, which is great news. One of the leading strikers in the game. And talking of leading strikers in the game, Glenn Phillips has lit up the competition so far. Excellent feature within this week on Cricinfo, talking about that extraordinary shot against Glamorgan a couple of weeks ago. Jack Taylor continues to captain the side, to that wonderful catch yesterday to finish the game off against Middlesex. Ryan Higgins is back. It's been a wonderful week for him with the birth of a child. Had to miss out on the Championship game, but Gloucestershire did extremely well in his absence. James Bracey led the side in his absence, and in the absence of David Payne as well. Graham Van Buren is back, and his left arm spin. Been a difficult summer for Van Buren with his change of status, but he'll be pleased to get out there again here today. Tom Smith, dependable as ever with his left arm spin. And completing the 11 for Gloucestershire. Not quite. Matt Taylor is there after his career best in the week. Here he is, Josh Shaw, back in the side. Bit of a surprise package this season, you have to say. Josh Shaw in T20 cricket, but has provided a very, very useful role. And if he can provide another one here today, and if Gloucestershire can pick up another win, they'll suddenly be right back on course to qualify for the quarter-finals. But it's all a little tight, Ian.
So here is the table, just to remind you of that. I mean, all sides have to play 14, so Kent played 11, 15 points. Somerset played 11, 14 points. Surrey played 12, 13 points. Sussex played 11, 13 points. Gloucestershire played 11, 12 points. And the net run rates are very, very similar. You could nearly throw a blanket over all 5 of them. The other matches today, Surrey play Kent, Somerset are at the Ageas Bowl against Hampshire, and Essex go to Hove tonight. Essex have got 11 points and they've also got 3 to play, but they've got a negative run rate, so they would probably have to win all 3 to give themselves an outside chance, but they are not out of the equation. I mean, the ideal set of results today for Gloucestershire would be they win, probably Kent win at the Oval, Hampshire beat Somerset, and Essex beat Sussex, that would be kind of, if you're putting a pound on a lottery ticket, that's your winning combination for today, isn't it?
Indeed, yeah. Get those on your coupons for this afternoon. But the results matter not if Gloucestershire can't pick up at least a couple of wins in these last 3 matches. Surrey to come in next Friday afternoon, and then a trip down to Taunton in the final fixture. And we were speaking off there, weren't we, about not wanting Gloucestershire to go down to Taunton in that last game with something riding on it. There obviously will be something riding on it anyway, a potential home quarter final on the line, but you don't want to go there knowing you have to win to sneak through, regardless of their excellent record in Somerset in T20 cricket in the last few years.
And actually, you say about Phillips, he is the highest scorer in this group in the tournament, 421 runs at an average of 70. That is exactly what when your overseas player comes in, and basically he gets significant contributions in 7 out of the 9 innings he plays. You say, right, I don't know what we paid him, but that investment is worth the money.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, Gloucestershire didn't really get that with Craig Brathwaite earlier in the season. Played well at times in the Championship, but didn't really define any matches. But that's just what Glenn Phillips has done. He's provided a number of really match-defining contributions in the tournament so far. Won't be around if Gloucestershire do get to the knockout stages because of his other commitments, either in the Caribbean or with New Zealand. So make the most of him while you can in these last 3 games, and they'll be hoping that he can put on another show here today. No runs for him in the Championship match in the week, but he'll be hoping back out in his favoured T20 environment, and with these inviting square short boundaries in particular, to cause some real damage here this afternoon.
Yeah, Middlesex in their usual pink and navy blue kit.
Cheltenham College colours, they timed that well, didn't they?
Yeah. And I was asked on the way, I think it was out of the ground yesterday, as Benny Howell and Miles Hammond walk out as Gloucestershire's opening pair, to try and explain why Middlesex have had such a poor season, when in theory, they ought to have the resources and the depth of squad to be competitive everywhere, and yet they haven't been competitive in the 4-day cricket, and they're really out of contention in the T20 as well.
Yeah, very much so. Their T20 has never been the sharpest. They did win the competition back in 2008, but that was a real outlier in what's been, in terms of overall history of T20, not a great time for Middlesex, but particularly their 4-day cricket the last few years, really, basically since they won the Championship, has been very, very disappointing. But as ever, new day, new challenge, new opportunity, and we shall see what they can provide here this afternoon. Gloucestershire went down to Hampshire last Friday against another side that was struggling and got tipped up. I want to avoid another upset here this afternoon. So Gloucestershire sent in. It's not what they like to do. They prefer to chase. They've been forced to bat first a number of times in the competition with some success, and will try to do so once again here today. So Miles Hammond and Benny Howell are out there, and it's the mystery spin really of Majid first up, and Hammond straight away going on the reverse and playing a missing. A deep square, and in front of us Max Holden, who's one of the boundary riders, and long on is also posted, and Hammond gets this reverse sweep up and over backward square and all the way for 6. It's a ground for maximums, isn't it, here at Cheltenham College? Particularly very short square of the wicket, and the ball in particular sails down the slope towards the Sanford Road, and that's carried the deep backward square boundary by a distance. Yeah, fine start.
The scoreboard is an electronic one here at Cheltenham, but that could be in some danger today, because that reverse switch hit did not drop very short, very much over the boundary, and I would say that board is probably, if it's more than 20 metres back, I'd be surprised.
So Hammond finding his range early. Forces the error with the ball down the leg side. It'll be penalised. Another lovely day. It was probably one of the better days of the summer yesterday, wasn't it, for that conclusion of the Championship match, but equally beautiful here today. Sunny skies at Cheltenham. What could be better, but Hammond has gone now. Majid holding one back and gets through. Hammond trying to cut, Middlesex have an early wicket and Hammond has to go. He's looking to stay leg side and create an angle for himself, but it's skidded into his off stump. And Hammond falls early in the piece, and silence around Cheltenham College. 6 for 1, 7 for 1.
Well, Hammond in good form in the red ball game at the moment, and he's scored runs relatively consistently in the T20, but being a Cheltonian, he wanted to have continued that form today, but one big shot and on his way. So Ian Cobain, having got injured in that home game against Kent with that tangle with Case Ahmed, this is the first game he's played since, and we had a chat with him yesterday. He said he'd been doing some straight line running and having a regular net, and then yesterday it was a question of just doing some shuttle runs as if you were running, twos or threes and changes of direction, and provided everything was all right today, he would play.
Good to see him back. And I'll be hoping to make up the lost time here, Ian Cobain, after a really innocuous injury he picked up. Gloucestershire under early pressure here. Deep square and long on also out here for...
Mujib really is somebody who's played all round the world, hasn't he?
Yeah.
IPL,
yeah.
Big Bash.
You've got to wear these kind of boots. Cobain away with a single down the slope to those marquees, not quite as numerous as they sometimes are. They usually are here at the festival.
And obviously a very different design of marquees as well. Normally it's the traditional cream or white, but we've got all sorts of colours here.
I think you call those stretch tents.
Yeah.
Providing a bit more open air in these times we're living in. So the boundary, early maximum for Hammond, but then Mujib coming back really, really well there to pick up Hammond and 8 off the opening over. Not a bad start. On a ground where normally you're pushing 200 for par score, aren't you?
Yeah, I was looking at the Tide game here in 2017 when it was 182, plays 182. That was the Ryan Higgins onslaught, which got Middlesex the tie on that day. Middlesex have been here since then, when they were narrowly beaten in 2019. Steve Finn's going to open from the chapel end. Obviously very experienced operator, had a long run in the England Test team, and now captaining Middlesex in the T20. So Cobain and Hammond, Cobain and Howell, two right-handers in for Gloucestershire, and the very well-known high-stepping runner Finn in. That's outside the off-stump and cut, but straight to point by Ian Cobain. Only, chatting to Mark Thorburn after the game last night, there are only 4 pitches here on the county square at Cheltenham. The 2 outside ones are the championship ones, and the 2 in the middle are being used for the T20, so this is about as central as you can get. Finn over the wicket, and Cobain goes for a slash which goes away over point, and it's 1 bounce 4. With only 2 men out at this stage, that was a reasonably safe shot, and down in front of one of the larger marquees, the sand coloured one. And Gloucestershire in the second over up to 12 for 1.
Yeah, it's a terrible delivery really, short and wide and a total free hit. And it's prompted a change in the field. They're going to send deep point back and bring the third man up. To just give Finn a bit more protection with that natural back of the length. Also got his deep square back.
Finn again, and Cobain, that is way outside the off stump. Cobain even looked to play outside that. It almost needed to go between bat and pad. There was a huge gap there, and it's taken by Joe Cracknell, who is the keeper for Middlesex today. Hasn't yet played in their first class team, but making a name for himself as a batsman in this form of cricket, and that's 4 more. That's very nicely timed. Cobain getting across in front of his stumps very well there, giving himself room to clip that away. There's not much cover. Souter and Mujib Ur Rahman having a big gap to cover on the leg side, and it was way up towards the college buildings for 4 more.
Yeah, sweet piece of timing. Good start here for Cobain on its return.
Second over, 16 for 1. And Cobain waits for Finn, and that's all in the air but past the man at mid-wicket. There's a chase round for Souter. They'll take 2, and Cobain just about picking the gap. Eskenazi was the player closest to it, but it was probably 2 strides and then a dive wide of him, so just wide enough. Cobain quickly getting going. Howell's only faced 1 ball at the moment, and Finn again to Cobain, who steers that all down towards short third man, where it's fielded on the bounce without any further addition to the score. So a decent second over for Gloucestershire. 18 for 1. Miles Hammond the man out. Ian Cobain back at his usual position of number 3. He has 11. Hammond out for 6, and I'm sure Glenn Phillips will be due in next. Phillips, and then a pretty flexible middle order, you'd have thought. Taylor, Bracey, Higgins, Van Buren. Any order you care to name, I'd have thought.
So Majid with these flaming boots that's up in the air should be taken at short third man, and is. So Majid was taken out. Both openers now, and Bernie Howell has fallen very, very early on here. To take Majid on early, down the pitch he came, and a whirl of an edge has been taken at short third man. So a couple of really big scalps early on here for Middlesex and Majid. And Gloucestershire are 18 for 2.
Yeah, that's hardly the ideal start. You want wickets in hand beyond the power. Normally we're talking about, I think that was the Sussex match, where Sussex had 4 down in the power play. You don't often win from there, and Gloucestershire have lost 2 within 13 balls here. And now Phillips and Cobain to go together, and this in many ways is the power of the batting order. So today they have perhaps more time than they might normally to just have a look at this Middlesex attack.
So under some early pressure here are Gloucestershire in the game that they'll feel they'll need to win to revive their chances of qualifying from the South Group. They've lost Hammond and now Howell. Howell was having a long late look at some analysis video just across from us, just before the start of play, but whatever he was looking at hasn't exactly helped him with that early dismissal.
And it was Josh De Cares with the catch.
Hoping to take some better memories away from the college, Will De Cares, after his dispiriting first-class debut. 4 and 5 he made in the week. Fired in by Majid.
He's been one of the more economical Middlesex bowlers. Under 8 and over he's been going at in this tournament so far.
Very clever with his bowling so far. Just be a single up towards wide mid-off.
Would you put him in the mystery spinner category? And there's a bit of everything in there.
Yeah, probably. They don't exist as much nowadays, the sort of mystery spin category, as they once did, with a few tweaks to the laws. Nothing there to short third man, a short fine leg, I beg your pardon. But I would say that Majid, he probably changes it up more than most. Very good here so far. But doesn't get away with that one, a full toss. Sweet drive, gets it between extra cover and cover point, and a very useful boundary for Gloucestershire to improve what was an excellent over from Majid with the wicket of Howell. The boundary just boosts the score to 24 for 2 after 3.
Well, 2 overs for 14 for Majid, and 2 wickets. And now Blake Cullen to replace Steve Finn, who's taken himself off after just 1 over. Cullen looked quite brisk in the gloom at Radlett.
I think everybody did that night, didn't they?
Yeah, they did a bit. But didn't get quite so much joy here in the Championship. But given what would be the traditional Cheltenham, what they tend to call the tennis ball bounce here, and the length that he bowls, with this white ball, he might quite fancy enjoying himself.
Slip going in?
Yes, Eskenazi going in for the start of the 4th over. 24 for 2, Gloucestershire after 3. And a very attentive crowd after that start. Cullen right on over the wicket bowls, and it's pulled behind square by Phillips, but he didn't time it. And he'll just pick up a single. Souter is away to our right hand side, 3 parts of the way to the boundary, but in the big scheme of things, that's probably, if it's 60 yards, it must be right on the limit.
Yeah, very much so. I don't think you could have too shorter a boundary and play a professional game, really. So
Cobain waits for the tall figure of Cullen into bowl 2, and that's all fired down into backward point, where it's well stopped. And Max Holden is the player in there in the cap. Middlesex, as we indicated, quite a lot of changes to their team today. They announced a squad of 13, and I must confess that the 11 and B, the batting order they've come away with was not what I expected at all. Cullen, short and pulled with greater power by Cobain, but again straight to Souter, and it'll be just one more. I think it was after a London Cup, Royal London Cup game here, that Tom Smith said you have to be watchful at Cheltenham. Yes, you think there aren't many places where you can run threes, but the straight boundaries into the corners are quite long, and you can run threes there. And particularly given the rain that we have had this week, the outfielders won't be quite as fast. Cullen in once more, and Phillips happy to have a look at him. And they will have seen plenty of footage, no doubt, and also seen a bit of Cullen in the Championship.
Yeah, many of you watching will know the college ground and know that we call these games from side on. You want to commentate every game side on, but it is nice now and again just to get that different perspective, and Cullen's got a bit of pace coming in here.
From our left, Chappell behind him, and Phillips can't get that away. Again, that's quite sharp back of a length.
Yeah, I hurried him a couple of times. That first delivery was quite telling, actually, because Phillips, a man in such great form, was hurried into that pull stroke, got it high on the bat, and again there, just a little ruffled. A good start from Cullen, very good start from Middlesex.
Taken Eskenazi out from slip now, back into position at mid-wicket, right on the edge of the circle. So still backward point, out on the boundary, far away from us, and Phillips has slashed that, and he's nicked it. Cracknell's taken the catch, and Gloucestershire are 3 down in the 4th over, and you can see what Phillips was trying to do, but he got just enough on it, and Middlesex celebrating another wicket, so that's 3 down in the end of the 4th over, and it's just 2 runs off the over and a wicket for Cullen, 26 for 3.
Outstanding stuff, absolutely outstanding stuff from Cullen and Middlesex. He's come in there with good pace. Just mentioned that Phillips didn't quite look himself, and just wasn't, just for whatever reason, never quite settled there. Short wide delivery was there to hit on a different day, would have sailed out towards the hospital, but not quite today. So under some real pressure now. We have been here before in the competition, particularly that game down at Hove when they were 4 down very early in the piece and turned things around, but they need a partnership here.
And James Bracey is coming in earlier than we expected in the batting order. I suspect that's because Gloucestershire want to keep some of the real chasers in Taylor and Higgins for the later overs, and to give Bracey a bit more of an opportunity. And it also gives us the right-left-hand combination again, of course. But 26 for 3 after 4 is not where Gloucestershire wanted to be.
So Majib for a third over here from the college lawn end, and why not with this start for Middlesex? I'm sure this perhaps wouldn't have been the plan on the sheet of paper beforehand, but it's gone so well. Why wouldn't you keep him going here and see if you can make further inroads? It's just teetering this innings at the moment. Certainly no real use of the power play so far. Do have Ian Cobain still there though? And I've James Bracey now here with some confidence no doubt back after some good runs in the week. Little appetiser in the first innings against Middlesex, and then 8-8 in the second innings. Yesterday was back to somewhere near his best. What can he do here though? Hasn't been the T20 tournament for him so far, but that's a nice ease down the slope. Always takes some chasing down towards the Sanford Road. It's just going to be pulled in. And Bracey away with a couple. Had a bit of fortune along the way in that second innings on Wednesday afternoon. A little bit of luck to get him back in some good nick. That's a good save though.
Souter at mid-wicket. I mean, this is the last of the abilities to get a left-hander in. Everybody else is a right-hander, so if Gloucestershire are trying to mess with the Middlesex bowlers' line, this is the partnership to do it.
Just going to get past the bowler for a single, but it is just one down the ground. And Middlesex have got a good hold over the innings at the moment. A real rebuilding job necessary here for Gloucestershire.
I wonder whether Majid might even bowl through. I mean,
yeah,
which is very unusual at the start of a power play.
Indeed, but he's gone so well so far. And a fine cover point. A good save from Holden down low to his right-hand side. So another excellent set from Majid. And Gloucestershire are going nowhere. Sent in, 5 overs into the innings, 30 for 3.
And Majid has 2 for 18 from his 3 overs. And well, they might, given his rhythm, might actually bowl him out. I say that will be very unusual. So 1 over of the power play to go. 5 and over is not a bad. So if Gloucestershire were 30 for no wicket, you probably wouldn't bat an eyelid here. Might even be a bit under par, but you have all 10 wickets in hand. But with 3 gone, Middlesex have taken a grip on this, having won the toss. So the left-handed Bracey waits for Cullen to bowl the last over of the power play, and his second. He's trying to pull that into the Sanford Road. It was would have been very low on the bat as well, and he didn't get a touch. It's gone through to Joe Cracknell.
It seemed to skid on, whether it wasn't quite the length for the pull stroke, I'm not sure, but
and they need to press the panic button here. Still 15 overs to go after this. Cullen, again, Sun's just gone in, and Bracey pulls that. That's a safer shot. It's going to go down towards the boundary at fine leg, and despite quite a determined chase from Eskenazi, nothing doing in terms of catching it, and it will be 4 more to Bracey. It's been a bit sketchy so far, truthfully. 3 wickets gone, and Middlesex, maybe this pitch is giving the bowlers a bit more than usual for a T20 surface here at the college.
Yeah, outground, never 100% what you're going to get. Always useful to have a little look, and Middlesex benefiting from that at the moment.
Cullen again to Bracey, who's trying to play the same shot, and he could be caught here. Holden's just dived for it and not quite got it. I don't think they've even got a hand on that. He tried to play the same shot, got it up in the air. Holden was going back from short third man, leapt at it on the retreat, and it was just out of his reach.
Really, really good pace again from Cullen. Bracey, the latest batsman there to be really hurried. It was a top edge, or I think it must have been bat the way the the ball came via the helmet and whirled just over the head of short third man. It was a great effort from Holden. And Bracey survives. He'll be checked over here as per the usual regulations for blows to the helmet. Only a glancing one, but substantial enough to be checked out here by the physio. Gloucestershire very pleased that just escaped Holden's grasp.
Yeah, I did wonder whether Dave Bartlett had brought out a different helmet for Bracey, but in the end he's put the one back on that he came out with. One more to the total. But at the moment, the Middlesex bowlers, you have to say, are on top. This is the last over of the power play. .35 for 3. Bracey has 8 and Cobain has 18. And he faces Cullen now from the Chapel end, and that's clipped again straight to Souter on the second bounce. That deep backward square. And he fires in his return. Just seeing how Mujeeb has bowled. Middlesex also have two orthodox leg spinners in Souter and Luke Holman in their side, so they've got plenty of slow bowling options depending on how Steve Finn wants to cut the cake today.
I think they probably would turn to another spin option next and just keep an over of Mujeeb up his sleeve.
Cullen in once more, hits Bracey on the pad. Umpire Warren not interested. In terms of Bracey career-wise T20, 384 runs at 18 is his tally. He's not played a huge amount.
He's still a young man, isn't he, really? His career has gone skyward very quickly, but he's still a young man with not a great deal of experience.
Cullen. Oh, well, again, Bracey tries to club that way over the crimson marquee on the far side of the ground at deep backward square, and nothing on it at all. 36 for 3 at the end of the power play, 6 off the over. Cullen, 2 overs, 1 for 8, and he and Mujeeb have done a great job for Middlesex in the power play, and Steve Finn's going to change ends.
So it's the end of Mujeeb for the moment. Finn going to come slightly down the hill, isn't it, from that College lawn end?
Yeah, the slope is more across the ground than end to end, but certainly, as you say, the ball begins to run down the slope towards the Sanford Road side. And we look across it. Yes, there's Cleveland in the distance, but there's the hospital a lot closer.
Unfortunately.
If there are any injury issues, they haven't got far to go.
Indeed. So Finn back into the attack. Here he comes. And a cry immediately. I think there was bat involved. I think there was 2 noises. Finn ends up in a heap and the umpire disinterested. But outside the power play, Finn got the protection back here at deep square and third man. Long leg, deep cover and deep mid wicket, the men back. So a field set to bowl into the pitch here. That's where Middlesex have had some success so far, bowling into this College surface. Full one there and turned away, but again just down the slope for a single. You can get some raucous afternoons here at the College ground, but this isn't one of them so far, with the home supporters very much becalmed.
Well, I say only 4 boundaries and 1 6, and we're in the 7th over, which on an intimate venue like this is unusual, to say the least.
Very much so.
Not to say that it couldn't still explode, mind you.
Yeah, they need a platform in the game here, Gloucestershire. Because at the minute they're well behind schedule. Oh, is that going to carry to mid-on? Not quite. Oh, there's a bit of a mix-up as well. Bracey's got to get back and does so. And they're in fact going to get overthrows here down the hill. A little naive from the fieldsman. Throw from Mitchell.
Mitchell.
From mid-on. Was initially interested in the firm push forward that Bracey couldn't keep down. It was a good couple of yards short of him in the end. There was a bit of toing and froing as to whether to attempt the single. It was a good call, I think, to err on the side of caution. Bracey got himself back, but they got a run anyway. So Cobain back on strike. And Finn gets his Yorker in, very well bowled. Difficult to deal with at the best of times, particularly when it's speared in from the height of Steve Finn. A tremendous average in T20 cricket, 21 across his career.
150 wickets is not a mean tally, is it?
123rd T20 here this afternoon. Gets his Yorker in again. Very nicely done. Little Bracey can do with it. Middlesex have got almost a complete hold here over Gloucestershire.
And I know that Lords is very much a ground in demand, but Gloucestershire have played Middlesex a lot on outgrounds in white ball cricket lately. I've been to Uxbridge, I've been to Radlett. They're regulars here.
Oh, it's a wild edge from Bracey, but it's got over backward point. It'll skip down the hill and will just be cut off by Majib running around the boundary.
He's throwing the bat at everything, isn't he? Literally.
Into the over. It's another good one from Finn and Middlesex. This stranglehold cannot be released at the moment. Those 3 early wickets, the pressure immediately applied, and just that element of circumspection to just try and get into the innings. But Gloucester's still going nowhere. 7 gone, 41 for 3.
Yeah, I mean this is kind of the feels like the match at Hove a little bit, where they ended up with, was it 159 I think it was, and you thought, well, it gives them a chance, and then the bowlers really did a terrific job. But Phillips and Jack Taylor rescued them that day. Phillips has gone already, and here's Nathan Souter, one of their leg spinners, into the attack straight away, and he's got long on and long off back and a deep backward square. Cobain on strike, 41 for 3. This is the start of the 8th over. Souter quite flat, one of good bit of fielding on the bounce, but Finn's height certainly helped him there. A smaller man might not have got to it.
Yeah, it was a good pluck, because that could have skipped down the hill for 4.
Souter up about 3 paces only. Now, Cobain's gone long towards...
Oh dear.
Long on, and it's been misfielded. Luke Holman coming in, wasn't quite sure whether he to dive forward and go for the catch or just try and make sure he got the block in. He got caught in 2 minds, and it bounced past him and went to the rope for 4.
Yeah, I think given the game situation, very much entitled to come in and try and take that catch, but he never really went wholeheartedly for it with the sort of side slide.
Gloucestershire needed a little bit of fortune here, and Cobain plays that into the ground off Souter. Out to Cares, who is just behind the square on the offside. Souter's going to whistle through his overs here. Oh, that's a full toss, arguably a no ball. It's gone for 4 anyway. It's been punched away past the dive of Darryl Mitchell, and it is called a no ball on height. So Cobain profiting from one that Souter definitely got wrong, and this has proved a much better over for Gloucestershire. So no, Middlesex can't change the field, of course, and Gloucestershire up to 51 for 3.
Eyes open, Ian.
Be wary of what happens here. Cobain, I guess a floated Yorker, which was a good ball from Souter. They think about trying to take 2, but Max Holden's onto it quickly, and they've kept them down to a single.
A really good piece of fielding. Like it was just in that, mention the dimensions of this ground and how it really opens out the space is sort of wide, long on, long off position, and
it's almost an oblong, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a kind of way.
Holden did really well to come across and cut the angle off there.
Souter's changing his field now for the left-handed Bracey. Holden is the cover sweeper, and Steve Finn just saying to the man at deep backward square to go a little bit finer. Souter from the chapel end, and Bracey's clipped that into the gap. He might get two here because that is one of the longer areas on the ground, and they will come back for a comfortable second run. The throw was from down in front of the scoreboard. This is the 8th over and a better one for Gloucestershire. Bracey goes aerial this time. He's middled that. That's gone for 6. You don't need to chase that one. That's gone onto the roof of the navy blue marquee on the far side, and it will at least come back towards the playing area. But a good big blow from Bracey to finish the over, and Gloucestershire needed a big over from somewhere, and they've got it with, I think if my maths is right now, Souter conceding 19 in the over, and they finished on 58 for 3.
Yeah, much better set.
63, 19 off the over.
Much better set to perhaps just inject a bit of life into this innings. It's been flagging along so far after some tremendous bowling by Middlesex, and particularly Mujeeb in the opening stage. He's talked about getting value for money from Gloucestershire's overseas player, but so far here this afternoon, Middlesex getting full value for their dollars, or whatever currency Mujeeb likes to be paid in.
So as you can see on the board there, Cobain has 30 off 25, Bracey 19 off 13.
And now Daryl Mitchell, the New Zealander from the college lawn end. Just be a single. Same field here as for Steve Finn, so a field set for bowling rather into the pitch, with both mid on and mid off up. Won't give them anything to try and slug down the ground. For Bracey, it is not quite going to stay the same, because an extra man at that short side down the hill is going to go back. So deep point, a deep backward point really here for Bracey, and a deep cover pointer in place. And third man is coming up inside the 30-yard circle. Deep square, deep mid-wicket and long leg also back. Just got it over. Yeah, it's well struck. Didn't sound completely middle off the bat, but well over the head and the end of extra cover. Nicely placed by Bracey. Little forearm jab, and with that sweeper on the offside, very, very square. Just in front of the umpire at point here for the left-handed Bracey. Plenty of space if you clear the infield on the offside. Fine shot, and a little bit of impetus here for Gloucestershire. Oh, clever. Really nice from Bracey. Doesn't quite give it all the way, but he calculated with that third man up inside the circle. End little touch. It's going to sail away down towards the chapel, and that's exactly what it's done. Lovely little pickup. Bracey back to his best, the type of stroke we saw in 2019, where he made a good impression on the campaign and sort of became known a little wider outside of Gloucestershire.
It's a shot of ball at the moment, isn't it, from Bracey?
Yeah, just sensing the moment here that momentum is with them all of a sudden, and for the first time, one or two questions of Middlesex, changing the field with third man now going back, and that deep backward point up inside the 30-yard circle. Just worked away to that backward point, so nothing there this time. There's a tempter banged in. Sure, there might have been half a thought of trying to swing away to this leg side fence.
And you see, Bracey just put the thumb up to Cobain there, implying that yes, it was his call, and he was quite right to call them to wait and then no. It may have been just straight no, actually. 27 to Bracey.
Yeah, it's gone quickly there. Finding some kind of groove here so far. This time does go leg side. Will be cut off on the offside. No, it won't. Fielder running around from deep square, can't get there. So this outfield is in decent nick despite a bit of rain. And Bracey finds the boundary once again, and this is a sprightly little innings building here to just get Gloucestershire back on course. Long way to go, of course, but desperately what they needed to wrest some control back into this innings for such a terrible start.
Slow ball from Mitchell.
Spotted well, just nudged down the hill for a single to end the over. So Bracey will keep the bowling, and that's good news for Gloucestershire at the moment because he's looking in decent touch. He was a little bit flustered by Blake Cullen's pace early on. He's settled well here, Bracey, and has moved Gloucestershire into a much, much better spot. 9 gone, 74 for 3.
Yeah, 33 off the last 2 overs, which has made a massive difference. Mitchell and Souter both come into the attack and having a bit of tap, but interesting, Souter is being kept on by Steve Finn. He clearly thinks that despite that barrage in the first over, he's got the threat to split these two. So over number 10, Souter from the chapel end to the left-handed Bracey, who tries to go for the big sweep, orthodox sweep down behind square on the leg side. Would have gone over Majib, who's at short fine leg, but didn't get a hold of it. That's pitched up and that's placed by Bracey. It's a chase round for Darryl Mitchell, who gets there, and they'll think about 2, but Mitchell's got a swift arm and basically saved 3 runs there. Yeah,
really good work. It's often 1 or 4 to these square boundaries at the college.
Now for Cobain, Steve Finn's dropping out, so basically you can drop and run anywhere you like on the leg side. Mitchell now back at deep square, and Finn is just in front of where the players come onto the field here at Cheltenham. Souter to the right-handed Cobain, who tries to put it in the gap on the offside as a result. De Cares will come around from there, and actually it's Sam Robson, my apologies, and just pick up 1 more. So Bracey into the 30s, Cobain also there as well, and Bracey faces Souter, goes for the reverse sweep, and umpire Russell Warren giving Souter the benefit of the doubt there. Might have called that as a wide, but didn't give it as such. And Souter in again, and Bracey's gone aerial now. How tall, how high is that? Will it come down inside the field of play? It will, and it's caught on the boundary, and Robson takes the catch, and Bracey has to go. He's made 33. He's made them pretty quickly, but that was more up than distanced out of the ground, which is what he wanted. And Gloucestershire have lost their 4th wicket in the 10th over with 76 on the board. Bracey caught off Souter for 33, but he's given the innings a bit of oomph, and it didn't have much when he arrived.
Indeed, yeah, good little hand. Thought for certain that was going to keep flying down the hill, as they often do here at Cheltenham. They just keep going down with the slope, and miss hits can travel over there for 4. But like you say, he just got a bit too much height on it. And well, I don't think the wind would have played too big a factor. It appears, if anything, to be going in that sort of direction, away from us.
Judging by the some of the display streamers on the far side, it is blowing from the College Lawn end towards the chapel.
Either way.
So Bracey gone 33 off 22, and Jack Taylor's in to join Ian Cobain. So Middlesex, no, they haven't got another left-hander to face for the rest of the innings. And the batsman crossed, so Cobain's on strike, and he's very nearly dragged that on. In the end, he's got a single out behind square leg, but I'm not sure he knew a huge amount about that. So Steve Finn's decision to keep Souter on has paid dividends with a wicket, and Gloucestershire at the 10 over mark are 77 for 4. In fact, only 3 runs and a wicket off that Souter over. A good recovery from him.
Very much so, yeah. Brave captain to keep him on, but it's provided the wicket of Bracey. And all of a sudden Middlesex are back in a decent spot here. 4 down at the halfway stage. Gloucestershire still plenty of batting to come. And still Ian Cobain there. He's gone very quietly about his business really so far, recognising the situation. 33 from 28 deliveries.
So I wonder what, with Cullen coming back at the College lawn end, I wonder whether Holman, also the leg spinner, would also try and bowl from the Chapel end, so that if you're going to go down the slope, you're playing against the spin.
Quick spell from Cullen earlier in the piece. He's back now. And again, a quick start. Bottom edge may yield a couple of runs, not quite. It's a good scramble across from mid-on. But he bowled with excellent pace coming up the hill. Did Cullen in those opening couple of overs.
2 overs, 1 for 8.
Yeah, outstanding stuff. And he ruffled even Glenn Phillips and picked him up. So Taylor here. I think his side need much more to be competitive in the second half of this innings. He's timed that nicely. Oh, he's timed it superbly well. Taylor not flustered by the pace of Cullen. It's about as good a piece of timing as we've seen in the day so far.
Yeah, that was all on the ground and absolutely split the fielders. And now 2 of Gloucestershire's most experienced T20 players out there together. Taylor's just gone past 100 T20 games and Cobain's well beyond that.
Yeah, poor length really from Cullen with both mid-on and mid-off up. Feel very much set here to bowl into the pitch. Maybe he was going for the Yorker and just missed it. He goes into the pitch here and Taylor has lifted it up the keeper's head for 4 runs. Extraordinary. Just used the pace and the length with a little ramp shot really. Just angled up and over first or second slip really down towards the chapel for 4 more. Great stuff from Jack Taylor.
And it's that literally that split second to make the decision about the shot to play to a ball that is of that length that makes that such an impressive stroke, because it's an improvised shot.
Difficult place to field here down the ground, and Taylor worked his angles out really well there. That's a good save. Could be a run out chance. Cobain got himself home. You're having to cover a lot of ground either way if you're out here in the deep here, straight, particularly down towards the chapel, I always think.
And Robson, who just took that good catch to remove Bracey, sharp on that single at mid-off.
Just be a dot again. Could come back here from Cullen. Couple of boundaries, couple of dots to begin the 11th over here.
Wonder where Gloucestershire are pitching their sights at the moment. They'd want 180. You would have thought. Go back to that tied match in 2017. That was 182.
Set there for the length, Taylor. Couldn't get it away. Just a little inside edge by the pad. Picks up a single to end the over. So a good comeback there from Cullen. But a couple of boundaries in the over for Taylor and Gloucestershire, just to try and keep things rolling forward here. Like you say, 180 is generally always a bit of a minimum here at the College ground under normal circumstances.
They'll be grateful they've got Graham Van Buren down the order at number 8. So you've got Ryan Higgins and Graham Van Buren still to come in. You've still got 2 genuine batsmen below these 2, and they may need both of them if they're to really accelerate. And here is Holman, in fact, to bowl for the first time. So a leg spinner replacing leg spinner. Souter 2 overs, 1 for 22, but the second one only cost 3. He was certainly battered in the first over. And Holman, another of Middlesex's players who have only so far played in this format. He's not played first class yet. With his leg spin, and then that's quietly played by Jack Taylor up to long on. I played in the game at Radlett in the gathering gloom there. Very, very different light today. You could not have better conditions. Holman just about 3 strides in and clips into the offside and taken. Finn with the catch, and critically Holman's come on and got a wicket straight away, and it's Ian Cobain who has to go, and that's a big moment in the match. The crowd do go quiet, and Cobain out for 34. Gloucestershire needed somebody who would have thought to bat through. He was probably the most likely candidate, and a sharp chance for Finn, but one you would expect to take, and he made it look very straightforward actually, and Gloucestershire are 88 for 5.
Yeah, big blow, like you say. It's looking like Cobain was the man to play the anchor role. At 5 down so early in the piece here, Gloucestershire. In only the 12th over, there is so much time to go in this innings. But at the moment, they are being bombed out of the game in not quite the same dramatic fashion as Middlesex were in the championship match earlier in the week, but similar story in the innings, just going nowhere.
Well, no, I didn't expect to be mentioning numbers 7 and 8 in the order and to find them coming in quite so soon. Van Buren, and then Tom Smith, Matt Taylor and Josh Shaw. That's the batting order. But 5 down in the 12th over. Hardly ideal. And Higgins straight in against his former county and gets a single off the first ball. He's not had much chance with the bat in this tournament this season. He's got 4 not outs out of his 6 innings, and therefore he doesn't actually have an average. Sorry, let's rephrase that. He's played 6 matches and he's been not out every time he's batted, so he doesn't have an average. Taylor with a single up to Max Holden at long on, and 90 for 5. These two will know that a lot depends on them now from here. Holden, 4 strides in and cut by Higgins past the dive of Josh De Caires and down to the boundary at 3rd man for 4. Well, perhaps he might feel that after the arrival of baby Elliott this week, and we had that with David Payne in the championship match at Lord's after his daughter was born. Sometimes it can just give you such a feel-good factor about life. Maybe this is the time for Higgins to put bat to ball for Gloucestershire in this tournament, really for the first time this year anyway. Works that away again up to Holden, and in from long, and they'll just get a single. So Holman with a successful first over important wicket of Ian Cobain, and Gloucestershire 95 for 5 with 8 overs to go. Yes, I think if you offered Jack Taylor 180 now, he would grin at you and say thank you very much.
Absolutely, yeah. They've just got a battle here to get a number on the board, Gloucestershire, because at the moment they appear well short of being competitive, albeit against the Middlesex side that has struggled in the competition so far. And indeed, their batting lineup has struggled in the championship as well, very much so this year. But on top here in the field, but still plenty of time to go. 8 overs, and Nathan Souter is back from the college lawn end now, so another change of ends. But Gloucestershire in desperate need of a partnership just to get this innings running somewhere. It's been fits and starts really so far. That Bracey Cobain stand appeared to be the partnership to really get the innings moving, but both have come and gone.
That put on 50 actually, exactly 50.
Just be a single down the slope. Yeah, very quiet here at the college. Just the sound of the PA system injecting some real atmosphere. Sedate Friday afternoon crowd, given the scoreboard here so far. Just shy of backward point.
The cry of catch it was from Daryl Mitchell, just down in front of us. It's almost as if Middlesex are batting here. You would normally get this sort of noise only when the contrast is when wickets fall.
Oh, it's another sweet piece of fielding. One or two things running here for Middlesex. Deserved it, the way they've bowled so far. Very much been backed up in the field. Big Steve Finn getting down again. That could have skipped away up to the pavilion fence. This one will do. Taylor's got that through. It's a good piece of timing. Well away from Finn's extraordinary reach. And out for his third boundary for Taylor.
Now he's into double figures.
And brings the 100 up for Gloucestershire.
Probably need another big over somewhere in the last 7.
Very much so, yeah. Oi! Almost squeezed one through. Inside edge saves Taylor. And the over comes to an end. So even with the boundary, it's still a decent set for Middlesex with 4 dot balls in there. And Gloucestershire cannot slip away here so far. They lost the toss, sent in, and they've struggled pretty much since ball 1. Hammond fell 4th ball of the innings. It's been a steady stream, really, of batsmen coming and going so far.
Yeah, 2 wickets to Mujib, 1 to Cullen, 1 to Souter, and 1 to Luke Holman, who is going to be, I think, given a second over. Is he? No, they're going to, I think, bring Mujib back for his last over. He's bowled 3 overs, 2 for 18 at the moment. Holman 1 over, only cost 8 runs, but Mujib in, and this is an attacking move arguably by Finn again, trying to get another wicket to further check the run rate. Mujib then last over for him from the Chapel end, and forced into the ground and down the ground by Ryan Higgins, straight up to Holden, who is the boundary rider at long on. 101 for 5 in the 14th. Jack Taylor with Cracknell obviously standing up. Again, short from Mujib. Really isn't bowling at a spinner's pace at all, and there's a dispute over a second run. No question, there was never any more than one there.
Good call.
Higgins was a third of the way towards a second run, but I think he quite rightly was sent back. Mujib not giving Gloucestershire anything to hit here. That was looked like one out of the back of the hand, and Higgins content with a single out to Mitchell. So Mitchell and Eskenazi away on the leg side boundary. So there's a single anywhere you want it on the leg side, but Gloucestershire arguably want more than that, and Taylor can't do anything other than play that out to Steve Finn. And Mujib has been excellent today. This is his last over the wicket, and again Taylor will get one this time. And the Afghan, who's played in the Big Bash, played in the IPL, he's still only 20, but really is a well-travelled global spinner. And Higgins will get 1 run off Mujib's last ball. It's a very good spell from him today. 2 wickets, and Gloucestershire finish the 14th over, and Mujib 2 for 23 off his 4 overs. And those who watched the T20 as well as the first class game will understand that sometimes it's not all about 4s and 6s, and you have to give credit to the bowler, and he has bowled well today.
Outstanding stuff. Yeah, that's excellent. Started things off and has come back there with a fine final set, but Gloucestershire will know that he is now out of the equation, and perhaps they can find some joy against the rest of the attacks. They need to find something here in the remaining 6 overs, because this innings at the minute is well short of what you need to be competitive here at the college. Steve Finn is returning. Is that going to skip away from deep mid wicket? That's a good save. Very awkward. Robson down there to his left hand side, tumbling away.
Finn's got 1 over after this. Cullen's got 1 left as well. And then you can and Souter's got 1 left, so they've got Mitchell and Holman obviously up their sleeve with plenty of options.
Is content to run another single down the hill. So they do know that there is a lot of time left in this innings, and they could get bombed out of it quickly if they lose another 1 or 2 in the next 2 or 3 overs.
They might think about getting to say 17.
Yeah.
And if these two are still together, then they have to.
Yeah.
I think, well, they can't really wait any longer after that.
Yeah, just try and get a foothold in the innings maybe, and keep at least a little bit of a platform. Taylor was lining something up there down the ground, but content for just a single more out to mid-on.
Looks like a slower ball from Finn, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, very much so. We'll be absolutely delighted with how his side have gone here in the field. It hasn't been their tournament at all. It's 3 wins from their 11 matches. But right on top here. And a sharp bumper right on line.
It looks the kind of day when, you know, Gloucestershire's bowling unit is going to have to be on top form themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a case of having to bowl Middlesex out probably in the second innings. As it did down at Hove, when a below par total that was thought at the time was defended very, very comfortably that night. Well, Finn's got that wrong though, and that's been slugged away. This will be a no ball, and he's beating the turf in frustration, Finn, because he knows that it was another really good set for his side, but he's just got, I think it's another attempted slow ball. He's got it all wrong. It's ballooned up on Higgins, who's put it away nicely past deep backward square. So that'll bring 6 runs from the delivery, and here a free hit as well. A useful bonus for Gloucestershire. They couldn't make the most of the free hit earlier in the innings. What can Higgins do with this? Field can't change. And Higgins, well, he's been taken at mid-off, won't count of course, and they will just go through for the single. Just couldn't quite steer it far enough away from the fieldsman. And Finn will be pleased to concede just the 1 run. It's a couple of free hits now, just gone for the single. So not too much extra damage. But again, just a little hint of a partnership brewing perhaps. Spare have taken the score from 88 for 5 in the 12th. Last ball of the 15th coming up. Just be a single more for the captain Taylor. Finn kicks the turf in frustration, having conceded that boundary off the no ball, but it's still, in the circumstances, not a bad set. So 117 for 5 through 15 overs. Gloucestershire still looking well shy, but they've got 30 more deliveries. That is something about it.
Yeah, 180 still would be a big ask from here, but that would be where they'd want to try and get to. And Holman is coming back, so bowled 1 over and got taken off from Majib to finish, and they're returning at the same chapel end. Robbie White's just quickly come on and off the field, and Jack Taylor then to face the younger of Middlesex's 2 leg spinners. That's short, and it's cut short, and it's taken, cut on the offside, and I think that might be De Caires there, and Jack Taylor has holed out to Holman, and that is a big blow for Gloucestershire. Taylor trying to get them into a really good position, and he goes for 19. It was a low catch, but it was well taken, and Holden in fact is the catcher, and Taylor has to walk off, and Van Buren and Higgins now with Gloucestershire 6 down, and Van Buren not having played since the 3rd game of the tournament down at Kent. That was the last time that Dan Worrell wasn't involved, and Van Buren with, well, it's kind of a thankless task in a way from here when you haven't got long to get yourself in. But the one thing, Graham does have his ability. He's a genuine bat, even though he's batting here at number 8. So Holman spins himself a catch in this 16th over bowls to Van Buren, and wants a single straight away, but Finn will field. I think you go back to that 2019 game here. I think the scores then are only in the 140s. Holman in, and Van Buren into the ground, and to Mujib, short third man, no run. Hard to see that 140 would be enough today to win. Holman, that's very short. Van Buren pulls it, not quite timed, and therefore an easy one for Eskenazi to get the throw in quickly and keep Gloucestershire down to a single. You're quite right, Alex, that word sedate about the crowd is absolutely right. You would normally expect it to be far more lively than this.
Absolutely.
Holman from the chapel end. Short, Higgins cuts. That's got past the one cover fielder on who's behind square on the offside, but there is one on the rope, and I think that might be Robson down there who has covered and kept Higgins down to a single. 119 for 6. Gloucestershire only 4 overs after this. Van Buren waits and dabs again to short third man, and Holman in this over really has got his length just about absolutely spot on. It's a good over from him. 119 for 6 Gloucestershire, and Holman has bowled 2 overs and taken 2 for 10. It's a tremendous effort.
Yeah, it's been a tremendous effort by all the attack, really. Everyone's chipped in, and the wickets have just kept coming so regularly. It's been such a problem in the innings that we've got no partnership together. And just when it's flickered into life, as it did with Bracey and Cobain, and there briefly with Taylor and Higgins, Gloucestershire lose a wicket. Some kind of number. And you mentioned that it can sometimes have had the occasional low-scoring thriller here. You mentioned that 2019 game here between the sides. Middlesex 148 for 9 in their 20 overs, and Gloucestershire only got up with 4 balls to spare to win by 2 wickets. So they'll be hoping to perhaps use that as a guide maybe for this afternoon. Be interesting to see what the chatter in the dressing room is, whether saying to each other it's not the usual Cheltenham featherbed, and your 190-200 is nowhere near what's required to be competitive on this save. That's a good save again. There's been some really good out cricket by Middlesex. To scramble from Max Holden. Just a hint of a bit of a swing from Van Buren. Let's do one more.
That was a wind-up, wasn't it?
Looking to find what would usually be the public bar down the ground there. Into that northeast corner. Oh, that's well struck. Will it carry? Not quite. One bounce into what usually is somewhere around the Cheltenham Kings working man tent down there, doesn't it? Where it does get a bit lively. Sadly, they'll have to wait till to next year's festival. Just a little drag down, and well struck for a most necessary boundary. Could Higgins with the nappy factor be Gloucestershire's hero here, perhaps? Last ball of the over coming up. Higgins content to just keep the bowling with a gentle single down the hill. So 17 gone. 1-2-8 for 6. Still shy of anything really commanding that you often need here at the college, but conditions could be a bit different here today.
Yeah, I mean, three 10s would be 1-5-8, obviously. Gloucestershire would love to have one big over, maybe that got them a 20, if they could. At the moment, the only two really big overs in the innings came together, 8 and 9. They got 33 off those two. They get that. They might get to 170. So Cullen's pace is being brought back. Souter has finished 4 overs, 1 for 36. So Cullen's got one left, Finn's got one left. I wonder whether Darryl Mitchell might bowl the third remaining over. That would mean that he and Holman have shared the fifth bowling allocation. And Souter's just trotting away to our left at deep mid-wicket now. So what will Higgins do with 3 overs to go against Cullen, and really not much batting behind him? Tom Smith is still to come in, but he's not really a hitter in that way. Higgins has got 26. And the answer is he's gone over our marquee onto the pavilion buildings for 6. That is a big hit. In fact, I think it's probably got stuck on the college balcony, by the way that's rattled around.
Good job on it there, eh?
That was I've seen that college balcony hit before. All the windows have got grills on them, which is probably just as well. But by the sound that made, that hit against the actual the brickwork of the building, or the stone of the building. 6 to Higgins. One
of the sweeter strikes we've seen in the innings so far. Great start of the over. A little bit of pressure on Blake Cullen.
Only the third 6 of the lot, in fact. Bracey and Hammond both hit 1. Cullen, that's again short, and that's gone over Cracknell. I don't know whether Higgins got anything on that at all. It's gone down towards the boundary. They're going to think about running more than 1, but it will be only classed as a bye and not called as a no ball, interestingly.
Yeah, Higgins having a little word here with the square leg umpire, but
it was very short.
It was, but quick again. Too hot for the wicket keeper.
135 for 6, 2 overs after this. Van Buren waits for Cullen. He goes down the ground on the bounce to the man at mid-off, and there's no chance of a run. Finn's fielded really well today.
Yeah.
You tend to think of a fast bowler perhaps not being as the best in the field, but he's held a good catch, made some good stops. And Holden and Souter are the boundary riders away on this leg side. Van Buren playing that one in the V, and in fact they've dropped a man out now at long on as well. Cullen from the chapel end, and Van Buren does get that in the gap. That will be 4. It was a big wind up from him, but Cullen, in a sense, angry with himself. That was in the slot, and Van Buren put it away. Welcome boundary for Gloucestershire in this 18th over. Remember, they were put into bat by Middlesex, and still, I mean, they look to be short here of what they would want. 139 for 6, 2 overs to go.
Yeah, it's sort of what you generally want the batsmen to do here at the college. You want them to hit down the ground to the long boundaries. But they have gone into the pitch generally throughout the innings so far, Middlesex. They are now going to send a long off back, actually, and a third man's come up.
Van Buren waits, and Cullen to bowl 2, and that's worked into the onside by Van Buren. Will they look for 2? Higgins wants it, and there's just enough pace on the ball with just enough ground for Holden to make up, coming in off the boundary at a straightish deep mid-wicket, that they can run 2 into that little pocket just by the what we call the school square or the college square here at Cheltenham, as opposed to the county square, which is what they play on in the festival. 141 for 6, 2 overs after this. Van Buren gets a slower ball, which he's picked, but there is a fielder out at long off. They won't get 2 there because it's gone almost straight to them. And a good bit of work at the end of the over. And 1 for 31. Blake Cullen's numbers at the end of the over. 142 for 6, 14 off that over. That's a bit better. 2 more of those. And Gloucestershire will get to 170. That might be a bit shy, but it would give them a chance at that.
Yep, decent set. And once again, just a little bit of a sense that getting to grips with their task here. 12 deliveries to come. Can they make the most of this and try and take some momentum into the second innings of the game?
I mean the card has Cobain at 34, Bracey at 33 and Higgins at 32 not out. Those are the 3 leading contributors, so there hasn't been a standout innings from anyone. A bits and pieces kind of card.
So Finn to finish off at the College lawn end. And down the hill goes Van Buren and finds the gap. That's a good strike. As he did in the previous over, winding up for a swing at the Sanford Road, and he got plenty of that and crucially picked the gap between deep mid wicket and deep square. So an almost perfect start to the 19th over.
Almost lurking down at number 8, Van Buren, batting wise. Wouldn't normally expect to be there, but back in the team today. A
slight change of tactic here because Finn has got long on and long off out here, which hasn't been the case earlier in the innings. Just be a low full toss and he gets away with it rather because it's just down the ground for a single. Good comeback from Finn. Mentioned a few times that those low full tosses can sometimes be quite tricky to hit. Field stays the same here for Higgins. He's picked that up well, but does pick out deep square. It's a good save and needed lifting back into play actually, because I think the fielder was a little worried about being taken over the boundary, such the force of the stroke.
It was Souter down there.
Yeah, on either side it was 4, and he's picked him out. So the early boundary, but a good comeback from Finn. A couple of singles. Gloucestershire will be looking for at least 1 more boundary in the remaining 3 deliveries here. And that could be it. That's really well picked up over one of the longer parts of the ground. Up and over, long on. Fine strike from Van Buren. Haven't seen too much clean hitting this afternoon so far, but that was about as good as it gets. Onto the roof of one of these stretch tents. Towards the second 11 square. Really, really good hit. Just what Gloucestershire were looking for. Becoming a decent over once again. 12 from it with 2 balls to come. Goes leg side again, but it should be cut off at deep mid wicket. It is. Just can't quite pick the gap. So 1 delivery of Finn to come.
Van Buren 22 off 14 and Higgins 33 off 21 at the moment.
Finishing the innings well so far. Last ball of Steve Finn. Slower ball, picked, swept away, 4 runs. Timely boundary. And this pair picking up the innings to give Gloucestershire some hope. Nicely placed. That was the key element there to that sweep. It carried all the way for 6 actually down the slope. Certainly what the big screen suggested. Did it carry all the way for 6?
Well, they
didn't think it did at first glance, but certainly what they put up on the big screen, they did. It carried all the way for 6 down the slope. So it was a better strike than I thought from Higgins.
19 off that over.
Makes it an even better over, it does indeed. So now we're getting into the reins of the realms of a decent number. If they can find another big set here, maybe find 180, and they will be right in the game.
Mitchell will bowl the last over, as we thought, looking at the way Finn was trying to work through his remaining options. I mean, interesting, the Holman's bowled 2 overs and taken 2 for 10, yet he's gone to the seamer for this last over. Van Buren, who's been quite a live wire since he's come in. He's made 22. Mitchell to bowl to him, and he tries to hammer that away through the offside, off the back foot, but it's gone through to Cracknell. Remember, Higgins still hasn't been dismissed in this tournament this season. This 39 is by some way his highest score. He's not on strike at the moment. Gloucestershire need at least a 10, you would have thought, from this over as a minimum. Van Buren in his blue boots waits. Mitchell to bowl to him. It's a slower ball, and Van Buren's gone down the ground. Has he got enough on that? It might go for 4. It's just short, is it? I think he's asking if it's 6, the umpire, and it has gone over the rope. He didn't look as if he got enough on that, but with no long off back, Van Buren has cleared the rope just in front of the chapel, and that's a very well timed blow, and very welcome as well.
Indeed, yeah. Once again, didn't think it was going to carry all the way for 6. Had the fielder been back there, I think it was a catch on the edge of the road.
Yeah, Finn's gone back there now.
Yeah, picked his spot and struck it well enough.
Horse has bolted a bit. Van Buren on to 28. Mitchell to bowl to him. That's short, and he's got that high on the edge of the bat. It's going to drop, and it's well taken, very well taken on the retreat by Blake Cullen. And Van Buren has to go, but he's made 28, and 28 important runs that have given Gloucestershire at least a chance in this match, helped by Ryan Higgins obviously, but a well judged catch from Blake Cullen gives Mitchell a wicket, and Gloucestershire are 167 for 7.
Yeah, good catch. Whirl of an edge. Always going away from him, but judged it well.
And the batsman crossed while the ball was in the air, so that's the important thing for Gloucestershire. So Higgins is on strike. What damage can he do in the last 3 balls? Tom Smith has come out at the non-striker's end. And Mitchell just setting his field. Third man is up, fine leg is up. That's where Cullen retreated from to get the catch. And Higgins on 39 faces Mitchell. It's outside of the off stump. Was it wide? Well, it was wide enough that Higgins didn't get a touch, and I don't think Russell Warren has given it as a wide. No. There was Higgins asking.
The conversation's still going on between Higgins and the umpire, but it was judged just about okay.
2 balls to go.
Good comeback from Mitchell so far after that early 6.
So one would think that 180 is out of the equation now, unless we're going to have a free hit. Mitchell to Higgins. He's gone into the gap on the offside. He's got 4, so Gloucestershire going to be north of 170. And Higgins goes to 43 with 1 ball to go. Well, from where they were at 26 for 3, to actually get to something that gives them at least a chance in the game has been a recovery that's been down to the middle order, and Mitchell just asking Eskenazi now to come in at square leg, and they've got to bring long off back for the last ball of the innings, or what should be the last ball of the innings. Higgins on 43. What can he do? It's short. He's pulled it away into the leg side, and it's caught by Holden. Holden's taken the catch, and Higgins is out off the last ball. That was travelling actually, and Holden did well to get into position quickly and to pouch the catch. So Gloucestershire finish on 171 for 8, and the last over only cost 10, which from Middlesex's point of view is a good recovery. But Higgins made 43 off 25 balls. He was top score, and that's his first dismissal of the tournament. And actually, when it comes off the last ball and you've been the top scorer in the team, pulling the scorecard round to 1 178, 171 for 8, I think you can be excused that. And actually, it was another example of what's been generally a good day for Middlesex in the field. They've clung on to most things.
Yep, yeah, good performance from Middlesex. They had to withstand some pressure there at the end, but they haven't conceded too much damage. The last 4 overs have gone for 52 to boost Gloucestershire's total, but the damage done early in the piece, early wickets, they built up some momentum, they put Gloucestershire under pressure, and the innings was under a bit of a stranglehold throughout. And to get up to 170 is a decent effort in the end, but a little bit like the Somerset game. I think Gloucestershire will feel that they perhaps have left a few out there. But they've got themselves a number, and they've got a batting order that has malfunctioned a few times this summer. But Middlesex will be pretty pleased with that set in the field.
Just looking at the efforts of the spinners, so they bowled 10 overs, so half the overs were bowled by spinners, and those overs contained 5 wickets for 69. That's an interesting stat out of the piece, given that Gloucestershire have Tom Smith and Graham Van Buren and Glenn Phillips all available to them today. But that's a good effort from Middlesex's slow bowlers. The overall card, the contributions, or the main ones, from Higgins, who was last out for 43, Ian Cobain, who made 34, James Bracey 33, and Graham Van Buren 28. But Gloucestershire, remember, a 36 for 3 at the end of the power play, which at Cheltenham is a very odd score in terms of what you would normally expect. Fast scoring ground, bouncy pitch, but today Mujibur Rahman in particular at the top of the innings caused problems with 2 early wickets. He removed both Hammond and Howell, who opened today, and then he got backed up initially by Blake Cullen, who bowled 2 very sharp overs from the Chapel end, only conceded 8 runs, got a bit of tap later, and then it was left to the middle order to try and rescue matters for Gloucestershire. And in the end, they've got a total which on this ground in the past has proved enough, and so what can they do to try and defend it? It will call for a big effort from the bowling unit. Middlesex's bowling figures: Mujib 4 overs 2 for 23, Steve Finn 4 overs no wicket for 46, Blake Cullen 4 overs 1 for 31, Nathan Souter 4 overs 1 for 36, and then Mitchell and Holman shared the 5th allocation, and they took 4 wickets between them actually. Mitchell 2 overs 2 for 24, and Holman 2 overs 2 for 10. But that importance of the spinners, Alex, how can Jack Taylor, I wonder, use his slower bowlers to good effect? And I suppose in Benny Howell you've also got, arguably one of the bowlers with the biggest bag of tricks in T20 domestically.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor will be sat there thinking, well, I've got plenty of options of my own and plenty of options that have gone well in the competition so far. Tom Smith has been excellent once again and has sent down some match-winning spells in the competition so far, so they'll feel that they've got the ammunition to come and defend this score here. But it will take a good effort, because generally at the college, as we mentioned earlier in the piece, it's sort of north of 180 that you're looking at to be really competitive. We have had some sticky pitches here in the past. One wicket in particular that got the club into a bit of trouble, didn't it, a few years ago?
That was the Glamorgan one. I think was it 99 or 98?
Indeed, yeah, that was about as extraordinary a T20, particularly here, as you're ever going to see, and probably will ever see after the ticking off they got after that. And
to be fair, and I just push back a little bit against that. We've had some odd ones this season where sides have got to targets in 7 overs.
Well, quite. Yeah.
Was it Notts got
true
to a target in 7 overs in a match against Warwickshire, I think it was.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Glenn Phillips is out there having a bowl at the moment. He did bowl a few overs in the Championship game. He bowled a little bit in the Championship game at Leicester, but it's not inconceivable that he might have maybe one, or it might only be 1 over, but he might have 1 over or maybe 2 overs here if Jack Taylor thinks that spin might be king. But Van Buren obviously back into the side with Dan Worrell being rested, I'm sure, after a sterling effort yesterday. And if Gloucestershire are to get up into second place, at least for a few hours, then everybody is going to have to come to the party bowling wise. We'll be back with you in about 5 minutes at the start of the Middlesex innings, here with live coverage from Cheltenham College on this Friday afternoon, the first of the T20 games here at the festival. And umpires will be back with us in about 5 minutes' time. Well, welcome back to Cheltenham, where the Gloucestershire players are on their way for the start of the Middlesex reply to this total of 171.48, which Gloucestershire managed having been put into bat, and it will be Sam Robson and Steve Eskenazi to open for Gloucestershire. And Gloucestershire are going to open with Graham Van Buren, which is something they've done before. And the rate, therefore, for Middlesex up at around 8.5 to try and win. The mascot's just going past us. and 172 Middlesex need to win. And Van Buren will open the batting stage to Eskenazi and Robson. Robson doesn't play T20 very much. Let's see how he does.
So a single to get Middlesex underway. You know they can just feel their way into the innings here with not a mountain of runs to chase, but still a score that will take a little getting, and perhaps on a wicket that maybe the players in that first innings felt wasn't quite coming on as they maybe would have liked. That's a lovely stroke, lovely piece of batting. Little turn of the wrists out through the covers up towards the pavilion here. And Eskenazi in particular will be trying to just roll on from yesterday, really, won't he? Slightly different circumstances, of course. He won't be able to face 300 balls here, but he's certainly got his eye in, and in terms of working out the dimensions of a ground, and every ground looks different in terms of where the ball's coming from and the sight lines and where you can look to score your runs. But Eskenazi's got all that, and he's got 4 more here. Just a hint of width on offer from Van Buren. It's chopped away up again towards the pavilion for 4 more. So a good start for Middlesex.
Yeah, Gloucestershire really want is to mirror what Middlesex did and take wickets in the power play to force Middlesex to rebuild.
Couple of dots to end the over, a decent comeback, but a couple of boundaries from it, and it's a steady start with 9 from the opening over. Taylor trying to slip in and over of Van Buren as he often tries to do.
And Josh Shaw, I don't think he's going to open from the Chapel end. Generally, he is bowled at the end of the power play, maybe after an over after a Van Buren over. But here, with Dan Worrell not in the side today, he and Matt Taylor are the quicker bowling options for Gloucestershire. Third man out and fine leg up for Shaw. And Sam Robson to bowl 2 from the Chapel, and Robson's got that fine, and it's past Matt Taylor and away for 4. So Middlesex getting out of the blocks quickly here.
Yeah, in this type of situation, having an orthodox player like Robson can often be quite handy, because he'll almost certainly look to just try and get through a good portion of the overs and just try and glue the innings together and make sure that Middlesex aren't bombed away, even if they are losing a couple of wickets at the other end.
Target is 172, remember. Shaw in, and Robson nudges that out on the offside.
Oh, what a pleasant sight. A nice high elbow in a T20.
Fielded by Miles Hammond in the hat. I say, he's played very little. I mean, he's given how many first class runs he's scored, it's only his 5th ever T20 match. And when the squad was announced, I must confess I didn't think he would play. Just didn't look to be in the makeup of the team, but he's out there now. I'm waiting for Shaw from the Chapel end, and again that's down the leg side, and umpire Warren says it is a wide. Actually, fair Middlesex were pretty good on their extras in the Gloucestershire innings. There were a couple of no balls on height, but only 1 wide in the whole of the 20 overs, so they were very disciplined. The burly figure of Shaw comes bustling in. It's Robson on the thigh pad, and it goes out on the offside, fielded by Hammond. It might be one of those days where we see 6 different bowlers used in the power play just to keep Middlesex on their toes. Robson has 5 and waits again for Shaw. Middlesex chasing 172, and it's clipped in the air and it's out of the reach. Down on the square leg boundary of Ian Cobain, and 4 more to Robson. And Middlesex have had 4 boundaries in the first 2 overs here. And when you haven't got a really big score to defend, that's not really what Gloucestershire can afford.
Just a nice classical leg lance once again, wasn't it, from Robson? Knows he can't afford to be wide outside the off stump with no protection, does Shaw here, so going to bowl quite straight. A little too straight on a couple of occasions.
Past umpire Warren again, and Robson happy to defend, because it's that old adage that if you know what you're chasing, it's so much easier to pace the innings. And Gloucestershire found in Michael Klinger's time how good he was at assessing where you needed to be at each part of the innings, how quickly or slowly you could make the runs up. Shaw again to Robson, and again back foot he can defend because he's got 2 boundaries in this over, and Middlesex are 18 for no wicket after 2 overs, and that's absolutely fine from their perspective. They've got 18, and B, they haven't had the openers split, and so Van Buren with 1 over out of his allocation, and now Jack Taylor turns to his brother, who, well, can he repeat the fireworks of yesterday? It would be asking a huge amount for him to do that.
I'm sure there would have been a few nightmares about Matt Taylor last night in the Middlesex hotel. 4 wickets in 10 balls he ran through after tea yesterday to deliver victory. What can he do here today? Nice piece of timing, but it'll be Jack Taylor on the edge of the circle to cut it off.
The Gloucestershire have seen enough of Eskenazi for a while. They don't need to.
His first century yesterday in the championship since 2017 for a player so talented. Big part of that championship winning side for Middlesex. Barrel run. A different ball, different situation here today. Hoping to help his side home. Again, a lovely high elbow from Robson. So going to change the way that he bats. Just going to help here. Middlesex to a tidy start is what they'll be after. They don't need to produce any particular fireworks in this power play. 9 off that previous over with doing very little really. Oi, not too far away. Eskenazi trying to scoop it up over the leg side. There is a deep square back there, Miles Hammond, with the best view in the house, looking up the slope towards the wonderful pavilion behind us.
Just looking at their chases this season, they won at Glamorgan, chasing actually 171 rather than 172, but equally they've fallen short of a couple that are around about the same level.
Carved away, Manny's out at backward point, and it's a great catch. It's a great catch from Glenn Phillips on the backward point fence. Oh, what a bonus that is. Extraordinary stuff. And Taylor has done it again for Gloucestershire. A whirl of an outside edge, and oh my goodness gracious me, what a catch. A full length dive to his left hand side from Phillips, and he has plucked out a beauty to get rid of Stevie Eskenazi. You can see him wandering off, disbelievingly so. He thought he carved it away towards the third man fence.
He's
but
just staring at Glenn Phillips.
I can't believe it. I don't think anyone in the ground can believe it. Well, if it was sedate before, it's not now, because that is an extraordinary piece of fielding. Oh, my word. Outstanding stuff from Phillips, and how he enjoyed it there with the celebration too.
Is there nothing?
Great stuff.
Nothing the man can't do. He can bat, he can keep wicket, he bowls off spin, and he feels like that. Well, Gloucestershire needed something like that.
Indeed, and Phillips would have been thinking probably after his failure with the bat that he perhaps owes his side here in the field, and That's just what he's produced, and you can hear the applause there as he makes his way back down the deep backward square. I was just in fact looking around to see where the other sweeper was.
Joe Cracknell's coming at number 3 in the order, by the way. He's the batsman cross where the ball was in the air.
That's in the air again, but chase for Hammond. Gets across, does well on the deep mid-wicket fence, but they do get back for a couple.
It would be wrong to say such a thing could be a momentum shifter, but it would certainly check Middlesex's thoughts, to be accurate, about a really good start.
Certainly the type of moment to pep you up in the field after a slightly below par effort with the bat. We shall see. Phillips in the game again here, this time much more sedate piece of work required, just going to his right. So Matt Taylor again for Gloucestershire. He's got the breakthrough. Eskenazi is gone. But Middlesex still enjoying a decent start. 3 gone, 23 for 1. 172 is the target.
Yes, Daryl Mitchell probably coming in next, and then Holden. And then after that, you would say you weren't quite sure what the rest of the batting order might give you. De Caires at 6, again hasn't played T20 at this level. And then you're into the all-rounders and the bowlers, so would love to get another breakthrough in this power play. Here's Shaw trying to do so. And Robson in the air, straight to Jack Taylor. 2 down, and Gloucestershire doing what Middlesex did, checking the start of their opponents. And Shaw with his 12th wicket, he's the top wicket taker for Gloucestershire in this tournament. And Robson has to go. Game on again.
Very much so, yeah, much more simple piece of fielding this time, but well held. And Shaw has his wicket. Robson's return has ended in disappointment. And just what Gloucestershire needed. They had to strike in the power play to really get into this attempted defence here of 171. And they've got into the meat of the order and the real hitters in this Middlesex lineup. They've got into them early.
You'd have seen a bit of Holden. I mean, Holden's due in next. You'd have seen a bit of Holden at Northants in your time up in the East Midlands, wouldn't you?
But not in T20. Never really saw him play T20 at all. T20 has almost taken over his career, really, because his championship batting has gone backwards, really. It's dropped from the Middlesex side after maybe 5 games earlier in the season.
I mean, let's be clear, Mitchell is a decent T20 player.
Yeah.
He's got 2,000 runs at 31, 9 50s, so plenty of knowledge. And he, like Eskenazi, had a long innings in the championship, second innings yesterday, having got a duck first time. Got a first baller first time, actually. Mitchell waits then for Josh Shaw. Hits him on the pad and wants a wicket, but there were 2 sounds there, I think. But if the crowd were mentally drifting off with Gloucestershire only having got 171 for 8, this could be a bit like the championship game. It's going to drag people back to their senses again. Shaw from the Chapel end, cut by Mitchell into the gap down towards Hammond, who's deep backward square, and they'll keep that down to a single. You could nearly hear a pin drop now, and that's really because everybody is absolutely tuned into this as a contest. .24 for 2, chasing 172. Middlesex. Shaw to Cracknell for the first time. Cracknell gets it past Tom Smith. I think we were going for a single, and there was a wait and a yes, and when it got past Tom Smith it got to Higgins, but he had ground to make to get to the ball, and there was probably always one there. Cracknell actually batted very well in the game at Radlett. They had a nice half century there, and again somebody who Middlesex clearly like the look of. Short to Mitchell. Steered out all for a single, and Gloucestershire all with a wild throw. And it's hit Mitchell inadvertently. And I think that's Phillips coming in. No, he's got that throw badly wrong. He's missed the stumps. And
it looks like everybody's injured here,
yeah,
aren't they?
He's hit. Is he hit Mitchell on the hand?
Either that or the bat jammed in the turf and just jammed his wrist. I mean, we did see penalty runs in the week, didn't we, for an errant throw?
And Phillips looks like he's...
Yeah, Phillips looks like he's tweaked something, doesn't he?
Flexing his
it doesn't look
right hamstring.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, I don't think. I think it's something he can perhaps shrug off, but...
he was on the run, trying to run Mitchell out as he turned.
Here's Phillips with his catch again. What a bit of work that is. That's extraordinary. We've seen some highlights from him with the bat so far this season, and chalk up one in the field there. Exceptional piece of work to get rid of Stevie Eskenazi and to potentially send Gloucestershire on their way here in the second innings. But lots to do.
No, is Phillips still out there? George Scott came out briefly, and that may have been only. They may have taken an opportunity there to get some sanitization spray onto the hands of the players, but ultimately Mitchell's okay. Phillips looks like he's okay, and we're still in the fourth over. 25 for 2 is the Middlesex score. Both the openers have gone. Robson caught by Taylor offshore. That was fairly orthodox. Eskenazi caught by Phillips off Matt Taylor. That most definitely was not. Here is Shaw again, then to Mitchell, down the ground and over Higgins' head, and that'll run away for 4. Even somebody of greater stature height-wise than Higgins wouldn't have reached that. And Mitchell finishing that over with a boundary, so 29 for 2, only 6 off the over and the wicket. So Gloucestershire, importantly, with 2 breakthroughs in the first 4 overs, and Middlesex chasing 172, 29 for 2.
An important boundary just to get Middlesex flicking over again. Might have been checked by those couple of wickets. But in Mitchell they have a fine player. What can Joe Cracknell do here, the young lad? Got it past short third man. Will he get it away from deep backward point? He will. Nothing Phillips can do this time. Running around to his left. Just a little bit of width on offer. And Cracknell able to free his hands. Sliced it away. Picks up 4 to begin the 5th. Useful boundary for Middlesex. Try and take advantage of the remaining couple of overs here in the power play. That's going to be 4 more. It's really well played. Nicely turned away there from Cracknell. Nothing Hammond can do about it on the deep square fence. Fast hands, whipped it around the corner. Back-to-back boundaries to begin the 5th over for Cracknell and Middlesex.
He's got 3 50s already, and he's only played a dozen games in this format.
Highly promising young player. Just covers up this time with some damage done in the over already. Yeah, local lad, 21 years of age. Born in Enfield, North London.
Benny Howell and Ian Cobain at almost a squarish point and a short extra for Matt Taylor.
Quite close together there, aren't they? Swung away again by Cracknell. This time it will be collected by Hammond on the deep square fence. Not the kindest throwback to Bracey. Offers up a hand of apology. But it's just a single.
Hammond will need his sun hat down there because the sun generally comes over the college pavilion and down onto that Sandford Road side. So Hammond's probably looking into the brightest of the weather down there.
It's always the place to be if you're watching on the ground, down the slope, looking into the sun. Many a good afternoon to be found down there. Been sent back, non-striker's end, would have been home anyway. Good call. It was much too close to Cobain coming to his left from cover point.
Feels like a day when Benny Howe's really got to produce one of his match-winning performances.
Oh, that's nice, really nice, and all the way over 6. Yeah, it's found the sight screen. Clean strike from Daryl Mitchell. Takes Matt Taylor downtown and all the way over 6. And that is a good over for Middlesex to pick this chase back up once again. Want to come in the power play, and they got themselves to 44 for 2 after 5 in pursuit of 172 here at Cheltenham.
Yes, I think you made the point towards the end of the Gloucestershire innings that Gloucestershire might need to bowl Middlesex out to win this match, and it does look as if it's going to be very difficult for them to defend this total without taking 10 wickets. Ryan Higgins to come on in place of Josh Shaw. Shaw's bowled 2 overs and taken 1 for 15. And unusual for Higgins to bowl in the power play. Generally bowls later on. But Jack Taylor thinking, well, I'll gamble 1 over here. Cracknell drops that nicely behind square on the offset. It's a good chop, and Hammond with ground to make up means that the Middlesex pair can come back for 2. Remember, their target is 172 to win. Gloucestershire 171 for 8. Ryan Higgins, top scorer with 43. He was out off the last ball. Cobain 34, Bracey 33, Van Buren 28. They're the main contributors, and that's off the outside half of the bat, but not to Jack Taylor. But Jack Taylor on the retreat gets his throw in quickly, and they will just be kept to a single.
Yeah, he did well there, Tether, to get the ball airborne as quickly as he did. There was probably a second run there on the arm with Taylor going back and having to pirouette and return, and the throw was well wide, but the fact that he did get it in the air
on another
so
day,
quickly.
On another day, Cracknell could have done what Robson did earlier and played it straight to mid-off, but it went off the outside 2/3 of the bat. Higgins in once more. Mitchell content to dab and run in the offside and pick up 1.
Well, I was going to say that Mitchell perhaps turned down that second round because he wanted a piece of the bowling here in the end of the power play, but is content to dab and go, with Cracknell going well here.
Yes, Gloucestershire will know how quickly he can score based on what happened in the reverse fixture. Higgins to Cracknell again, but beats him this time. Taken by James Bracey. Tom Smith just getting his arms twirling to our left. I'm sure he will be into things shortly. Probably from the Chapel end. That's where he tended to bowl in the T20. That's where Higgins is running in from at the moment. Last over of the power play. And clipped away by Cracknell. Ian Cobain's on the chase. Good sliding stop. They'll get 1. They'll go for a second. They will actually. And Cobain's throw is in quickly to James Bracey, but they were herring back for the second there, just because I think Cobain had to do 2 things. 1, get to the ball, stop it, and then pick it up. He couldn't do it all in one movement. And as a result, Middlesex were back for 2. 50 up. So they're quite a way ahead at the moment of where Gloucestershire were at this point. Higgins in, and Cracknell just plays that back to the bowler. So 6 off the over, 50 for 2 at the end of the power play. Gloucestershire were 36 for 3 at this point, so it's all about the wickets column.
Very much so, yep. The steady of the ship after the loss of both openers. And they'll be very pleased with where they're placed at the moment here. Middlesex, who have struggled in the competition, just 3 wins from their 11 matches so far. No chance of qualification, with just 7 points on the board. Playing just for a bit of pride, a bit of momentum perhaps for the Royal London Cup to come. The likes of Cracknell will hope to get a run perhaps in that competition. They can put a serious dent in Gloucestershire's qualification hopes if they can get up here. Here's Benny Howell at the college lawn end. Gone down with a paddle sweep straight away. It's gone very fun. This will take some cutting off. Fieldsman coming around. They'll push and come back for 3. Good cricket.
A long chase for Higgins.
It was all the way around from a pretty orthodox deep backward square.
Just proves you can run a 3 on this ground.
Yeah, that's generally where you get it, to the corners.
Long on and long off back for Howell.
Yeah, nicely set, up with the rate. 3 off the opening ball of the over. They can just work Howell around here and keep the board ticking, get a partnership together. That's what Gloucestershire never were able to do, was to just flick through a consistent period and just have a couple of guys out there for a while and get a stand together. But the beginnings of one here between Cracknell and Mitchell. Some debate here as to where to put the fieldsman here on the leg side. Smith is going to stay at short fine leg. In fact, now he's coming across to short mid-wicket, the undernard, and change their mind for a second time. So long on deep mid-wicket, deep backward square, and a tight short mid-wicket in place here for Howell, who effectively has a spinner's field. It's nicely picked up, but on the bounce to deep mid-wicket, just be one. Generally always has those men in place at tight extra cover and tight mid-wicket, although for here, for Mitchell it is, back on strike, the New Zealander. That short fine leg has gone back in, so there is an easy dab and go on the leg side. Very calm around the college. And with that short mid-wicket having been removed, it's a very easy little nudge down the ground to Hammond for 1.
Howell does not have a lot to bowl with today, but he didn't have a lot to bowl with at Hove either, did he, when he got 4 wickets?
Slash and a miss to end the over, so an important dot, just drags the over back slightly, but still 7 from it. Middlesex continue to just flick over here in pursuit of 172. 7 gone, 57 for 2. Both openers come and gone cheaply, but well up with their task for the moment.
Yeah, and here is Tom Smith. You feel this is potentially an important part of the game over the time he's been at Gloucestershire. This has been the format where Smith has been his most effective, steady taker of wickets. And here, with the slight slope, taking the ball in theory away from the right-handers into Mitchell. He just turns that into the onside, calls 1 to Phillips. But you're right, Onyx, that Middlesex can pick off 5 singles and over here for the next 5 or 6 singles and over for the next 5 overs. And
yeah, they can sit on Smith. Can just work him around, just build this stand up.
No pressure at all. Smith in again to Cracknell. That's short. Same shot out to Phillips at 3 parts of the way to the boundary, but a straight mid wicket, and it's 1 run.
Yeah, and I'm certain this will be the tactics for the next few overs or so. be no drama if the rate does get up to tens. With wickets in hand and a small ground.
Smith trots in, and Mitchell, it's like a film on repeat at the moment. There are 3 players playing a game between themselves. The fielder at straight mid wicket, the bowler and the batsman. Smith again, trots in. Oh, that's gone towards us actually. It's going to bounce just short of Ian Cobain. Slightly different shot, rather more aggressive shot this time from Cracknell. Still only gets 1 run for it though.
Yeah, didn't get much of it there, Cracknell. Surprised he took the chance. Just manage the situation, work it around.
Well, sooner or later we might need to be going for cover. Mitchell though, back in the groove and back in that shot of the singles from the leg side. Everything going leg side from these two at the moment. Middlesex chasing 1-7-2 to win. And Cracknell was struck on the pad by Smith. 3,000 in the ground appeal. Smith appeals, but umpire Warren says no. Cracknell was quite a stride forward, but 62 for 2 off 8. At this point, Gloucestershire were 60 for 3. So, on the face of it, not much in it, but the difference is that Middlesex know where they're heading, target-wise.
Yeah, very much so. Still very much in control at this stage. But LBW appeal looked to be just sliding down there. Again, just a little surprised that Cracknell took the chance. Just no pressure at the moment. Just keep the board ticking, build the stand. Probably Gloucestershire's best couple of bowlers here in T20 in Howell and Smith. Oh, there's a fumble. That'll produce an extra run. There's a bonus. Middlesex were almost faultless, weren't they, with their out cricket? A couple of bowling extras, but by and large, in the field, they were very, very sharp indeed. A little slip there by Gloucestershire. Oh, there's a wild edge. Oh, it's going to land safe. Yeah, it's over short. Real moment's fortune for Mitchell. Trying to take Howell leg side. It's a whirl of an outside edge. Just got over backward point.
And Gloucestershire had 1 or 2 of those that fell safe as well, but really when you've 1-7-2, really most of those have to go to hand if you're going to win.
Good hands from Bracey. A little bit of pressure in the over despite that slip in the outfield down the slope. 3 from 3 deliveries. Just be trying to use, as I say, probably their best 2 bowlers in this format. To slip through a few cheap ones and just try and build the pressure. But Middlesex have got to recognise that I'll be looking to do that and just work them around. Just play some smart cricket for a bit. Realise there's so much time left in the innings. Just get yourselves a little closer and know that wicket's in the shed. And a couple of set batsmen out there. I mean, 10-11 and over isn't too big an ask. Now, deep mid wicket in the game. It's catch taken.
Phillips.
Howell has his man.
Phillips again.
Less dramatic this time for Glenn Phillips, but he's clung on. And that little bit of pressure has told. Little look at the big screen for Mitchell as he walks off, but he's just held it, the hold out straight to the man. Running in off the deep mid wicket fence. Good low catch coming forward. And just what Gloucestershire were looking for. A couple of cheaper overs. Created a chance earlier in the over with that wild edge that just got over backward point. And now the wicket, the big wicket of well of Daryl Mitchell.
So that slice of Mitchell's not too costly in the end, because it would have felt as if he gone on to get a major contribution in the game. That would have been a turning point. But Phillips has clung on to 2 good catches now. And Mitchell's gone. And one ball left in this over for Benny Howell, and Max Holden has come in at number 5. And left-hander, of course. So Howell is going to come round the wicket to him. Graham Van Buren's out at deep mid-wicket.
So the last ball of Howell's second over, the 9th over of this chase. And just work down the ground for a single. And you can perhaps hear Gloucestershire in the outfield saying, beautiful Benny, beautiful. But that is a very, very smart couple of overs that have gone for just 12 runs and produced the wicket of the very dangerous Daryl Mitchell. And they'll be hoping here to get stuck into a potentially vulnerable Middlesex middle order. So squeeze on, perhaps, Ian.
Yeah, so six bowlers used so far. Jack Taylor's got, maybe Phillips can't do something with the bat. Perhaps he can do something with the ball today. It's still not impossible that he might get asked to bowl if it's felt the spinners are really doing the business. But Tom Smith to bowl the over that will get us to halfway. Over the wicket, and Holden goes for the reverse sweep. There's a chase for Cobain. He's not got an awful lot on that, and he'll only get one because Cobain's throw is in quickly.
I thought for certain it would have been a couple of runs. Cobain had a lot of ground of work to his right. Holden erred on the side of caution. More natural for him to go leg side with the spin. No. Reverse straight away.
I wonder how Cracknell feels now that he's lost the experience of Mitchell up the other end. Holden's 23, so it's two of the younger Middlesex players. Smith around the wicket to Cracknell, and he's been calm there and just worked that into the leg side. And Cobain will come in and amble to the ball. He'll only take one. So the left-handed Holden again sees Smith come over the wicket, and Benny Howell's coming across now to backward point, but very close in there backward point, and Holden goes straight down the ground, just a little punch really, and always going to be a comfortable single, but nothing more than that. Where from your experience are Holden's strong scoring areas, Alex?
Well, definitely square on the offside. Very, very square, very, very strong square on the offside.
Smith back again, round the wicket to Cracknell, the right hand, who's got that off the bottom of the bat. It's gone straight to Van Buren, and his throw is whipped in from deep backward square to the right hander, and they'll just pick up one. This is the 10th over. At 10 overs, Gloucestershire was 77 for 4. Here, Middlesex are 71 for 3. Smith over the wicket, Holden off the bottom of the bat. He's got the gap there, and despite a full-length dive from Glenn Phillips, he can't haul that in, and that's going all the way to the boundary on the Sanford Road side at mid-wicket.
Yeah, fine shot. Thought he might go that way initially with the spin. An easier hit than his initial reverse, but he's got a lot of ground to hit into actually with the spin down the slope.
And again, he's gone into the leg side again here, the tall figure of Holden, and he'll just pick up one run. So at halfway, 77 for 4, plays 76 for 3. Gloucestershire, it sounds kind of obvious, but a couple of quick wickets would change a lot, and that's what Middlesex did in the remaining overs. 11 and 12, they took a wicket in each, and that really checked Gloucestershire as they tried to accelerate into the second half of their innings. So run rate's nearly up to 10 already. Benny Howell to continue.
Yeah, been good so far, Benny Howell. Holden looks to flick him down the ground. That's really nicely done. That's going to run away out to the chapel for 4 runs. Good start here for Holden. Confident sweep off Smith, and now a little paddle flick off Howell to bring a couple of boundaries, and just to try and get this chase moving again, because outside the power play things have certainly stalled for the visitors. Going very nicely inside the opening 6, but suddenly under some pressure. 9.6 needed for the final 10 to get up here. It's been one this time.
Cracknell's got 22 off 20 balls at the moment. No real fireworks from him yet. Probably conscious that it isn't a fireworks kind of day.
Yes, very much so, yeah. Yeah, someone's got to guide the innings, and Cracknell's got a chance to do it here. Just runs a gentle single again down the ground.
Tom Smith walking right to left in front of us.
He's gone back to deep backward square, and now a short fine leg is also in place to try and cut off that little dab sweep that Holden has played. He's manipulated the field a couple of times already here, Holden. It's been a good start of his innings. Benny Howell brings long off up. 3 out on the leg side. Goes into the pitch. Gets it past extra cover. Can they come back for 2? Oh, there's a fumble. Oh, not terminally so for the boundary, but they do actually stick at the 1 run.
Probably always was one.
Yeah.
He's got past Jack Taylor, and then Phillips almost overran the ball on the boundary.
He did overrun it, yeah. It was fingertip stuff to keep it in play, otherwise that would have slipped away for a very cheap boundary indeed. Oh, can't quite get to that. They take the mid-on and get home. The lack of timing allowed them to scamper through there. Holden in confident mood, no doubt, trying to grasp his chance in this form of the game, being out of the championship side. Much better over here for Middlesex. 9 from it so far. Howell's most expensive set so far. Firm nudge down the ground for 1 to Hammond running away from one of the stretch tents. And that's a good set for Middlesex. One they needed to just get this chase moving again. And they're back on course with 7 wickets in hand. Needing now 86 to win in 54 deliveries.
And they've got 86 on the board, so they're exactly halfway there. 9 overs to go. Smith's bowled 2. Howell's now bowled 3 of his allocation. I wonder what James Bracey, what Jack Taylor rather, is thinking out there in terms of juggling his bowlers. Tom Smith to continue, round the wicket to Cracknell from the Chapel end. That's short, it's pulled by Cracknell, and it's again cut off by the man on the straight mid-wicket boundary. Middlesex have milked that area a lot today, and now with the left-handed Holden, Smith is asking for a change of the field. Jack Taylor's coming across to the leg side, so he's going to go in at point. Benny Howell at short third man, and Van Buren just in front of us. That's what a square cover. Holding gets almost a full toss, which he gets off the bottom of the bat out to Phillips, and again it's a single. Did I hear you use the phrase "death by singles" at a commentary recently? I've certainly heard it by someone, and this might be it if the Middlesex are going to try and accumulate this way. Down the ground from Cracknell again. 1 run up to Hammond.
It was probably in that Somerset game where it really was death by singles, where Somerset won with so much in hand. They won by 8 wickets, but didn't get up until the last over. Could say they measured the chase perfectly, but they gave themselves a little bit to do. But it was a slow death on that night for Gloucestershire.
Holden again. Oh, Smith almost thought he got through there, but Holden again clips up to the boundary. Long on. The last wicket went down in the 9th over. This is the 12th, but it feels like they've only had 1 wicket since the 4th over, and a bit like the championship match yesterday, Gloucestershire need a clatter here. Smith around the wicket to Cracknell, who goes aerial, but it's going to drop short of Cobain, is it? No, it's not. It's very well caught. Very well judged from Ian Cobain, and Cracknell goes. That's another one for Tom Smith to the wickets column, and then somebody else today who's got a start and then got out, and Cracknell's absolutely livid. But Middlesex have critically lost their 4th wicket, and I must confess Cobain had ground to make up there, but he was very low to the floor when he took the catch. But that's 2 good catches just down in front of the players area to our left, and it's 90 for 4.
Yeah, good catch from Cobain running in. I was with you, Ian. I did not think that was carrying to the fieldsman running in, but he judged it well. Always the most difficult catches, those. Trying to come in and take them down really low. But that was well judged. And the second, really smart catch of the innings. Not quite as dramatic as Glenn Phillips' flying effort to get this defence underway. But a good time to strike. Like you say, we're just in need of something to break a little bit of momentum once again, that had just built up a little bit of a stand. But so far in this match, we have seen wickets going down regularly, haven't we? No partnership has got together and done real damage.
No, 26 Cracknell made, and Luke Holman, the left-hander's come in, so it's 2 left-handers now in for Middlesex, and Tom Smith to bowl to Holden, who drives down the ground for a single to Miles Hammond. So success for Smith in that over. 91 for 4 Middlesex, only 5 off the over, and they are 4 runs behind, which is next to nothing, and they have 1 extra wicket in hand compared to where Gloucestershire were at this point.
Yeah, superb set from Smith, like you say, just 5 from the over and the wicket. It's just nudged that required rate for the first time over 10 and over. Now, you mentioned this, Ian, didn't you, that Glenn Phillips could get himself in the game with the ball. He's been in the game in the field already with a couple of catches, one spectacularly so. But now it is going to be Phillips with his bustly off-spin.
Against 2 left-handers.
Indeed, yeah, which is almost certainly why he has been introduced, to take the ball away from this pair of left-handers. Holden will resume strike here. He's got a confident start. Someone needs to play a match-winning innings here for Middlesex. Phillips into the attack then, right arm round. Oh, zips one through past the outside edge, first up.
So he's going to bowl, I dare I say, a similar pace to Mujeeb in the Gloucestershire innings.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, like Mujeeb, he's played a lot of cricket around the world and knows how to operate. Big cry for LBW. He was a long way down there, Holden. Run away for a leg by.
And the one sure thing is that Luke Holman won't have seen much of him.
Indeed, yes. And I've had the analyst videos in action, no doubt. Have all the footage from around the world, all the clubs nowadays. So there's no excuse not to do your homework. A deep extra cover has got back here, long off, long on, deep mid wicket and deep square, and then 4 behind square really, 3 on the offside, 1 on the on. Phillips bowling really quickly and driving it in, just forcing an outside edge to backward point. Really, really good start for Phillips. Trying to build on that wicket of Cracknell here, Gloucestershire. Initial cry of 2. Round comes long off to cut it off. Running around his throwing arm down there is Van Buren. So they do indeed get back for a couple of runs. Good piece of cricket.
It's tense this, isn't it?
And just 4 from the over. That asking rate just on its way north. Oh, and he's gone straight through him. You simply can't keep this man out of the game. Glenn Phillips, all action, straight through Holman, back on his stumps. One has skidded through, and Gloucestershire have another wicket. And they're just beginning to get on top now in this chase. Quick delivery, skidded on, straight through Holman's attempted offside push. Middlesex now 5 down. And a couple of wickets have gone down all of a sudden in 7 deliveries. And asking rate approaching 11s. Gloucestershire just getting on top now, Ian.
Well, the question is, where is the confidence in this Middlesex batting order is the issue. They've not had a very successful season in terms of getting promising positions over the line, and they've got another debutant coming out at number 7, Josh De Cares.
Yeah, Michael Atherton's son, who didn't enjoy his first class debut with 4 and 5 in the championship game that immediately preceded this fixture, which Gloucestershire got up to win late on. Are they going to do a similar job here? They're in a good spot now with Middlesex 5 down. With a 78 to get in 43 deliveries. Last ball of Phillips' first over. De Cares beating a huge cry for a stumping. Bracey was so confident, but De Cares, in the opinion of the umpire, has not moved his back foot, but still a valuable dot ball and a wonderful over first up for Phillips into the attack. And Gloucestershire really now are in an excellent spot. 13 gone, 94 for 5, chasing 172.
Now Gloucestershire were 100 for 5 at the same stage. Phillips just 3 runs off that over. And with Tom Smith just having 1 over left, not impossible to see Phillips getting another one at least from the other end. So Holden then to face Smith from the Chapel end, and he always clipped that in the air, but there's a long run round from, you know who, he's involved in everything at the moment. Then Phillips, and he gets the throw in quickly. So Smith now has a chance to bowl at De Cares, and he'll certainly want to do that in this his last over, which is the 14th of the innings. De Cares with Smith coming round the wicket to him. And it's well struck. That's one bounce.
Oy.
Into, and indeed just past, the analyst's computer to our right. And
just past, question mark?
Yeah, well, he ducked and he fell on the floor. The chair went with him, and he did very, very well to get out of the way. I'm pleased to say the computer's all right, and the analyst, I think, is okay as well. But that is the danger of being at ground level when somebody really middles one. We've been waiting for that to happen to someone, and we are fortunate. The lads along to our right are smiling about it now, but that was struck with some venom by De Cares.
We are sort of in the shooting gallery here, aren't we?
Yeah. Watch the ball, that's what we always say. 99 for 5. And De Cares, again, is beaten outside the off stump, and again Bracey asked the question about the stumping. This is Smith's last over. Spins himself a catch. The cloud's just gone in for a moment, and De Cares has gone again on the sweep, and Van Buren can't quite reach it. I think the umpire's saying, was it 4, was it 6? It's just 4, and there's 2 big paddle shots from De Cares to this short boundary in this over, and he's got 4 for both of them. 100 up for Middlesex. Perhaps he's decided the way to go about this is to attack rather than to nudge the singles. He's got 2 boundaries. Smith will try again. He plays through a reverse sweep, and it's gone to Benny Howell at backward point on the bounce.
Yeah, it's good batting. Just a little bit of, not panic, but just a little bit of noise in the field, and a bit of applause from the dugout to our left-hand side for the visitors. Smith
to finish his stint. In and De Cares again goes aerial. That's a big hit. That's gone to the longest part of the ground, and that's gone for 6. Well, he's come in and really decided to change the impetus of this Middlesex innings rather than just nudge it around with Holden. He's come out and hit 3 blows in 1 over off Tom Smith, and that doesn't happen very often. Smith's figures finished 1 for 34 from his 4, and Middlesex up to 109 for 5 with 6 overs to go. Gloucestershire at this point 105 for 5, so still not much in it. Going to be a tight call, this.
Yeah, game on again. Another quiet set there from Smith, and obviously it wouldn't have been game over, but could have seen the required rate pushing 2 a ball, and for the amount of time left, that's an awful lot of batting to do, but De Cares, with 3 fine strikes, has got his side back in the game. 63 required from 36. Benny Howell is back here and starts the 15th over with a dot ball.
I wonder if this is to try and push the rate up a little bit more. This is Howell's last over, so Howell and Smith will have bowled out.
It was just the 1 over from Phillips that did produce a wicket. Holden on the sweep now, but doesn't time it at all well, and just be a single down to Van Buren at deep backward square. So just the 1 run from the first 2 balls of the 15th. Every dot ball just raises the pressure.
Higgins still has 3 overs left.
There's plenty of options, aren't there, still?
Often bowls at the end of the innings too, so likely to do so again today, you'd have thought.
Yeah, seldom seen as early as we've seen him here today. De Cares tries to go again and he's gone. Big leg side swing down towards the hospital. Gets only fresh air. Howell takes him out. And the briefest of cameos from Michael Atherton's son is done. Bit of a wild, ugly swipe in the end there. Some crisp strikes in the previous over, but a bit of deception from Howell. De Cares has gone. And Gloucestershire can breathe again.
He looks skywards too as he walks off, as if to say, why did I do that?
Needless to say, I never saw his old man play a shot like that.
Michael was here actually on the first day of the Middlesex match, presumably in case they won the toss and he batted first. I didn't know whether he was there on the second day or not, but you can't believe he wouldn't have been with his boy wanting to make his first class debut. Nathan Souter has come in at number 8 in the order. Number 8 in the order, yes, correct. Important for Howell to get that wicket in his last over. Two for 23 at the moment, Howell. 3 balls to go of his spell. Could he nip out another one?
Another one for Howell. Howell on a hat-trick. And Gloucestershire all of a sudden moving towards victory. Let the college crowd do the talking there, as vocal as they've been all day. And you can see Howell roaring his delight.
Well, his impact with the ball has come late in this innings, hasn't it? 2 wickets in his last over.
Fine return, and Gloucestershire really are moving towards victory now, you have to say. Middlesex 7 down, requiring 11.5 and over for the remaining 5 overs and 2 balls of this chase.
So Mujib, Cullen and Steve Finn to come.
Going to be down to Holden, you would think.
There is the risk, of course, that he gets isolated at the wrong end, with the tail enders not able to rotate the strike. What can Mujib do?
So here is Benny Howell on a hat-trick. There is a brief change in the field and a brief cry from the crowd. Here comes Benny Howell on a hat-trick. Oh, when he goes past the outside edge and he has his hands to his face, but Mujib just about survives. And always the curious action of the crowd applauding a hat-trick that's failed.
But they know the impact of the 2 in 2.
Absolutely,
that's the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just he got through the bulk of this chase now as Howell with these couple of strikes, pace off again, and he goes past the outside edge, and that's outstanding stuff from Benny Howell. Thought that it would take an impressive set from Howell for Gloucestershire to try and get up here, and that's just what he's provided. 4 overs, 3 for 23, and his final over taking 2 wickets and conceding just the 1 run. So now Gloucestershire hold all the aces. Middlesex requires 62 from 30 balls and have only 3 wickets in hand.
Yeah, 5 overs to go. Now, in theory, Ryan Higgins can bowl all 3 from the Chapel end, and he is coming back. And it's not clearly a done deal yet, but a lot will depend on Max Holden, who has 22. And you would suspect, famous last words, that Middlesex's bottom order, the lower order, is not as strong as Gloucestershire's in terms of batting ability. But Holden is a genuine bat. He has opened a lot, of course, and here he's got 22 off 17. Higgins to bowl to him. Slower ball. He's gone for the scoop. It's gone over Matt Taylor, and that will go away for 4. That's clever cricket. Pace off from Higgins. Holden read it and had appeared to have all the time in the world, actually, to play that scoop over Matt Taylor, who was up at short third man.
Yeah, clever stuff. Most needed for Middlesex, requiring 12.4 and over now.
Higgins from the Chapel end. Again to Holden, and he's gone aerial this time. He's got hold of that too,
yes.
And that's gone clean for 6. Away over the mid-wicket boundary, just between the 2 marquees, the burnt orange one and the sand one. And it's been returned by a spectator, so that ball will need to be sanitised by the umpire. So Holden deciding someone's got to press the accelerator here, and he has got 10 of the first 2 balls of this Ryan Higgins over. This is Higgins' second over. So only Howell and Smith have bowled through, so there are plenty of options for Jack Taylor. But he'd prefer to have the dad of the week, Ryan Higgins, into the attack. That's pitched up, and Holden's gone for a single this time. That's all he'll get. And Hammond will return to James Bracey. So what does Mujeeb have in his batting locker against Higgins?
Well, stats would suggest not a great deal, having played 141 T20s and averaging only 9. Wouldn't have probably batted too much in his cricket around the world.
Van Buren's gone across to the officer. So where's Phillips going? Phillips is going to a sort of a straight extra cover right on the boundary, and Van Buren has gone to sort of a wide mid-off on the edge of the circle, and neither matters because Mujeeb is bowled by a Yorker from Higgins. Quite right, Alex, about his batting ability.
Indeed. But,
121 for 8.
I think a batsman of greater ability than Mujeeb would have been cleaned up by this. Perfect Yorker from Higgins, right at the base of middle and off stumps. Perfect. And Mujeeb goes. Middlesex fall a little further. They've simply got to try and give the strike to Max Holden. He's their only hope now. For bloke averaging 9 is out at number 9. Can't imagine the fellas coming after him. They've got two great numbers to their credit.
This has been such a story of Middlesex at Cheltenham, with the bottom half of the batting order just crumbling. You know, like I was going to try and come up with a coastal geographical equivalent there, but I couldn't do it. So we'll move swiftly on. But you kind of get the picture. 8 wickets for 25 went down in the first innings of the championship match. 6 for 14 went down in the second innings, and Jack Taylor has just gone up to the spectators at the far end of the ground, just to the right of the sight screen. There is no play going on at the moment. Have they broken a stump? Are they waiting for a stump to be brought out? Yes, in fact, one of the umpires has got a stump in his hand. So we've got one of the ground staff handing a new stump to Jack Taylor. It looks like a blue one. They'd like a red one, please. So we'll have to make do with the blue one, I think, at the moment. And it's passed between umpires Warren and Debenham, and that stump is going to be replaced after Higgins made rather a mess of it with that dismissal of Mujeeb. We're in the 16th over. Middlesex still need 50 to win, and there are only 2 wickets in hand. And the sooner Gloucestershire can wrap this up, the better it will improve their net run rate. And in a tight group, every little advantage they must take. Well, the stump's in place, and Blake Cullen is going to take strike from Ryan Higgins. 2 balls left in this over. Jack Taylor's out at long off now, down in front of the spectators down there, chiefly standing. Higgins into Cullen, who gets that into the ground, and it's a crowd catch. Some of them thought that Higgins had caught it on the foot, on the full, straight from Cullen's bat, but not so. 121 for 8. They've been 11 off this over, but Holden has been isolated at the other end after that 4 and 6 at the start of it, and he's lost another of his partners as well. Higgins to Cullen, last ball of the over, and he's clipped that away neatly into the leg side, but it'll only be 1 straight to Cobain, and Gloucester will say, well, thanks for that, because that will mean that Cullen is on strike, and he almost thinks as if he should have said no to that run. He almost couldn't, but it's 122 for 8, 50 off 4 to win for Middlesex, 2 wickets in hand. Max Holden's got to get most of these.
Very much so, yep. Like you say, that single last ball of the over rather helped Gloucestershire with giving Cullen the bowling.
So Matt Taylor's going to bowl the 17th over.
They'll be hoping to just take out the 2 wickets at the other end here, leave Holden be.
He's got 33 from 20, Holden, so he's done his best.
Yeah, very much so. He's been seeing it well, been hitting it well since he came out there. Middlesex perhaps would feel they would have liked him further up the order, perhaps here this afternoon, but a lot to do now. 50 from 24 balls as Taylor is round the wicket, and that'll be a wide down the leg side. Fortunate really, because a little touch might have taken that past short fine leg for a boundary. So 12.5 and over required from here on in for Middlesex to get up. But looking like Gloucestershire heading second in the table, albeit maybe only for a couple of hours, with the other games to come in the group later on tonight. That'll get Holden back on strike with a single out to mid-wicket.
Wonder what the Gloucestershire fielders really felt when Phillips took that extraordinary catch at the start of the Middlesex innings. They thought, well, you know, it might be our day after all.
Well, I suppose they knew that they had a number on the board, and they knew that they had a lineup that hasn't been going tremendously well, and they've been able to take wickets. They've been able to do pretty much like Middlesex did really, and chip away, prevent any partnerships. But can Holden provide the kick that Higgins gave Gloucestershire? Crashed at one there, but gets only fresh air. Taylor had joy in the championship game, going into the pitch. That's what he talked about, running in hard, hitting the pitch hard.
9 for 59 was a tremendous effort on that pitch.
Absolutely.
It was a long second innings.
Yeah, there was a lot of work to do. He'll be wheeled out again on Sunday, no doubt, for a massive game against Hampshire. Pace off here, swung down the ground, long on coming in, can't quite get there, I don't think. No, it's been put down, but there could be a run out here. Oh goodness, it's been dropped. That would have been a run out had Taylor taken it and removed the bails, but he's dropped the ball.
Great effort from Cobain to try and make the catch. I think he was just short. I'm not sure it quite carried.
Yeah, he had a lot of ground to make up to his right. I think it was just short as he dived forward to try and get his hands underneath it. But it should have been a run out at the non-striker's end, with Cullen trying to slide back. But Holden survives, and Holden slugs one leg side. That's awkward for Smith, does well. Does very well. It was bobbling awkwardly on the second bounce. But a good save. Makes it just a single, and no damage in the over. Cullen back on strike, and the asking rate now at over 13s. Two balls to come in the over. Outside edge, backward point. Large cry of hold, and Howell does just that. The single's absolutely fine for the Gloucesters. So what does Holden do here? Does he want the bowling for the next over?
Well, you'd have thought
Or does he swing for the fences to try and take a piece out of this target, which currently sits at 44 needed from just 19 balls?
He wants the strike, I would think.
He tries to go down the ground. He's found the gap, he's found a boundary. So Middlesex just about still with their heads above water. They're being dragged underneath it, but Holden is keeping them kicking. Finds a boundary to leave 40 needed from the final 18 deliveries. Still a big ask, but still enough deliveries to try and get up here if Holden can see most of the bowling. But it will be Cullen on strike for the start of the 18th at 132 for 8. The target 172.
Yeah, 10 off the over. Holden has got 40 now. And Higgins will continue. This is his third over of a possible 4. Cullen on strike. And it's almost a Yorker length. Cullen will want certainly one. Actually, they're not going to be interested in a second run because Cobain's got a long way to come in, but Holden wants the strike, the left-hander.
Yeah, almost perfect result really. They either took a single off the last ball of the previous over or a single off the first ball of this, and that's just what they've done here to get Holden back on strike.
Long on, long off, deep mid-wicket, deep square, all out, and Holden gets trapped as Higgins comes around the wicket to him. Couldn't get the ball. They tried to improvise with almost like a little reverse scoop, and got the ball trapped between his feet. Higgins around the wicket then to Holden, on whom's Middlesex's hopes depend. Gets him on the end of the toe. They've run out into the leg side. They want 2, but there isn't 2 there, and Bracey had done really well to scamper out from behind the stumps. Van Buren went to the stumps and kept them down to a single, and that's what Gloucestershire want. They want to see Cullen at the striker's end.
Yeah, very good from Higgins. Dot, and then the leg by to get Holden off strike. Very good over so far.
What can Cullen do? Back over the wicket to the right-hander. Clip that into the onside again. There'll only be 1 run. They would have wanted more than that, and Gloucestershire mustn't give any silly overthrows away. And Graham Van Buren makes sure that they don't by backing up.
Yeah, Holden he just has to see. This has to be 6 and 1 really to have a sniff, you'd think. 38 from 14, 37, sorry, from 14 balls needed. Has to go big.
Higgins staying around the wicket to the left-hander. That has gone away towards the boundary at deep mid-wicket, but well, man of the day in the field, Phillips, 2 catches and a wicket. One of the catches absolutely outstanding, picks up and keeps them down to 1. So here, it's a free shot for Cullen, because if it goes for 4, Holden will have strike anyway. And they don't really want a single off this last ball. Gloucestershire would say, oh yeah, they'd be more than happy with that. And it's an outside the off stump, and in fact it's a ball that Cullen can't lay bat on, so it's a dot ball, which is kind of ideal from Gloucestershire's point of view. And 136 for 8. 36 needed off the last 2 overs, and Holden has to do it all on his own, you'd have thought here. He's top scorer for Middlesex, and he might end up being top scorer in the match actually, because Higgins got 43. It's not been a day when any one batsman has dominated the play. And Josh Shaw is coming back from the College lawn end to bowl at Holden. Shaw bowled 2 overs at the top of the innings, 1 for 15, and you would assume therefore that Higgins will bowl the last. He's got 1 for 21 so far.
Yeah, how many can Shaw leave Higgins here? 36 from 12 balls. Gloucestershire huge favourites. Holden's probably got to take an over here for
20.
Yeah, I think he's got to get it down to maybe 15, 16 to win. Here's Shaw then. Oh, there's a start. It's gone up in the air. Fieldsman coming back. Howell. Oh, he spelt it. And it's run away for 4 runs.
Might have been a no ball as well. I wonder if it was too high. Has the umpire called it as such? No, he hasn't.
No, umpire says it's just okay. Had a little look at each other, but umpire Warren, signalling that it was beneath waist height.
Holden had gone down to reach the ball, says umpire Warren.
Yeah, Middlesex balcony just clarifying there with a square leg umpire, but it is a boundary to begin the 19th over. That's a good save though at extra cover. Good slide from Smith.
Yep. Difficult one for Benny Howell, just coming over his shoulder.
Yeah, but it would have backed himself to cling on there, running away, but it was fingertips into the fence. But now Holden off strike.
141 for 8, so still 31 needed.
And 10 balls, it's slipping away if it wasn't already from Middlesex, particularly with Holden at the non-striker's end. Gets his Yorker and flicked out down the ground. There's 2 available, and well, they are going to come back, deciding that they simply have to take the runs at this stage perhaps, and just see if Cullen can slug a couple of long balls maybe to get them back into it. 29 from 9.
Looks like Shaw's going Yorker route here.
Yeah, the field set that way. They've got
particularly with
long
the
on
lower
long
order
off
batsmen
back. Yeah,
in.
Mid wicket, deep square. They're all back. Goes full again. That's been swung away. That's going to find the fence, I think. It does, yes. That's a firm strike. Shaw's missed his length badly, and Cullen has pulled it away. So Middlesex keep themselves just about alive. 25 needed in 8 deliveries. Not the over that Shaw was hoping to try and effectively close out the game with. Still plenty of runs to play with here for Gloucestershire. Anything over 12, I think Higgins will be extremely confident of defending in the last over. 2 balls to come in the 19th. Banged in, cracked away, 4 more! I'll be alive here at Cheltenham College. Fine strike again from Blake Cullen. Career average of only 7 in this form of the game, but proving he can strike a decent ball here. Short and wide this time from Shaw. Totally wrong once again. Knee-high full toss swung away, and now short and wide and cracked away 4 more. 21 from 7. Last ball of the 19th. What can Cullen do with this? Swung away, wide of long on. It's going to go for 4 more. 1 or 2 fielders with hands on heads. That wasn't the over they were hoping for. They were hoping to shut down the game, but that is not what has happened. Tremendous striking from Blake Cullen has kept this game alive.
19 off the over.
Indeed, it's left Middlesex with 17 to win off the final 6 deliveries. So now work to do for Higgins to close the game out.
And Holden is on strike as well, which is what Middlesex would want. There's drinks for the 2 batsmen, and it will be Higgins to bowl the last over. Holden has 46 off 29, and it's going to be a tight finish, this.
Well, Gloucestershire's still big favourites, aren't they, with 17, but they would have wanted a few more than this just to be on the safe side, but Higgins will still be confident in defending these.
Round the wicket to Holden. Big appeal for LBW, not out, but it's hit him on the toe. The crowd appealed, Higgins appealed. Nothing doing from umpire Warren, but it's a dot ball, that's the important thing. And it's 17 off 5.
You sort of know what Higgins is going for. He'll stick to his plans, going Yorkers.
Holden waits, the left-hander who's kept Middlesex in the game. Let's get down the ground here. They'll look for 2. They've got to go for 2. Jack Taylor's going to get the throw in quickly, and they've got back for 2, 15 off 4.
Very good again from Higgins. Sticking to his plans, the stuff that he knows well. Going nice and full, and little he can do with it.
Holden on to 48. Highest score of the match. What he mustn't do is bowl a no ball or a wide. Higgins here. Around the wicket again. And it's gone off the bottom of Holden's bat. There's a yes-no. And in the end it's a dot ball because Holden can't afford to let Cullen go down the other end. He's done well offshore, but he backs himself against Higgins. And now
it's
nearly there.
Indeed, it's a good option from Holden because he's the man swinging down the hill to the leg side fence here.
Fourth ball of the last over, Holden goes aerial. It's gone straight down the ground. It's dropped safe. They'll get 2. Hammond will get the throw in, and it's let run through to Bracey.
And that should do it.
159 for 8. 2 balls to go. A tie is still on.
Well, quite, yeah, absolutely.
We've had one of those before here.
Yeah, indeed.
And Holden's got to hit both of the last 2 balls for 6 to get there. Holden's made a half century. It's almost gone unnoticed. Again, he's got that on the pad, and it's dribbled out on the onside. Graham Van Buren runs in, and Gloucestershire are going to get the points out of this. Holden has scrambled a single up to the other end, but his half century of 33 balls is almost going to go unnoticed here because Gloucestershire are going to win. Middlesex need 12 off the last delivery, and unless Higgins does anything completely rash, they'll get there. And Cullen works that away on the onside. They'll pick up 1, and there'll only be 1. And Gloucestershire have won this match here at the Cheltenham Festival by 10 runs. 161 for 8 is where Middlesex finish, despite an unbeaten 51 from Max Holden. Blake Cullen tried his best at the end with 20 not out, but Gloucestershire squeezing Middlesex in the middle overs with fine work from Benny Howell in particular, who finished with 3 for 23, and well supported at the back end by Higgins and by the rest of the team in the field. And Gloucestershire up to second in the table. We'll try and give you the absolute computation as soon as the table is complete. But Alex, Cheltenham again produces a tight finish from a score that didn't look as if it might be enough at 1-7-1-8.
Indeed, yeah. I'm sure Gloucestershire may have been feeling they were a little light at half-time. It was a bit like the Somerset game, that they never really got going with the bat. It was stop-start and a few cameos, but there was no defining innings that was played in the first half of the game. But they got themselves a number with that late burst. That fine knock from Ryan Higgins has probably won the game, really. Higgins with the bat and Howell with the ball, you have to say, has won Gloucestershire this game here. 43 from 25 balls Higgins made to boost Gloucestershire to that 1-7-1. And generally it was a pretty good defence, wasn't it? Early on there was a bit of pressure and Middlesex got off to a good start without getting miles ahead of the game, and then came the squeeze, the good old-fashioned Gloucester squeeze with pace off the ball in the middle overs. It was Benny Howell and certainly 3 of Tom Smith's 4 overs. Howell picked up 3 for 23 in the end, and that's a pretty good victory. They've done well here because they were perhaps under par, but they defended the score well and they got themselves right back into contention to qualify for the quarterfinals.
So here's the table. Kent played 11, 15 points. Gloucestershire played 12, 14. Somerset played 11, 14. Surrey played 12, 13. Sussex played 11, 13, and probably Essex played 11 and 11 points, just about in the equation. But Gloucestershire have the second best net run rate, but it's still very tight on those run rate numbers. The remaining matches, remember, are Surrey at home and Somerset away, so it really is in their own hands. They can dent the chances of the others by winning those 2 matches. But in terms of the teams playing later on today, Alex, they've just made them fully aware that Gloucestershire are right in the picture. Very much so, yeah.
1 or 2 maybe thinking that the challenge was fading a little bit after that defeat to Somerset, but slipping down to 5th in the table. There was some pressure coming here today against the side they were expected to beat. Middlesex having struggled in the competition, Gloucestershire having tripped up against Hampshire in their previous T20, and also a side that they, certainly on paper, they would have been fancied to beat. But they've done really well in their second innings, and it was not quite an ugly win, but a ground-out victory.
So nub of the match here at Cheltenham then this afternoon, on this Friday afternoon, in front of a full house. Gloucestershire put in 171 for 8, a poor start, 36 for 3 at the end of the power play. And then Cobain 34, Bracey 33, Higgins 43 out off the last ball, and Van Buren 28 got them up to 171 for 8. Middlesex's slow bowlers in particular did well for them. 2 wickets to Souter, 2 to Holman, and 2 wickets to Mujib rather, 2 to Holman and 1 to Souter. 5 wickets for 69 for their slower bowlers. And then in reply, Middlesex, again a series of batsmen getting starts and getting out. Cracknell 26, Mitchell 23, and then it was Max Holden who made an unbeaten 50 from 34 balls, who tried to guide them home. He got some late support from an unbeaten 20 from Blake Cullen, but they were left with too much to do after Howell took 3 for 23 in the middle overs, and Glenn Phillips chipped in with a wicket after taking an outstanding catch in the power play to get rid of Stephen Eskenazi. Gloucestershire winning in the end by 10 runs. Thanks to James and to Shane and to Cameron and to Connor for all their work on the cameras today. Day off for us tomorrow. We'll all welcome that, and we'll rejoin you on Sunday for what will be the first day of a very, very big championship match against Hampshire. Thanks to Alex too for his company this afternoon. Really enjoyed it, and enjoy your Saturday, whatever it has in store. Join us on Sunday at 11 o'clock for the shootout in the championship with Hampshire, the visitors, here at Cheltenham.